Hey everyone, welcome to episode 12 of Ballrooms and Bachelors podcast, where we talk about our experience as ballroom dancing students, dancing with the stars and all things Bachelor. I'm Matthew.
And I'm Camille.
So today we're going to be talking about dance this past week, the Dancing with the Stars premiere, the Bachelorettes Finale, and the Bachelor announcement as well, and our thoughts on the Bachelor in Paradise preview that they showed at the end of the episode of the finale. So do you want to kick it off?
Yes, I will get us started.
Awesome.
So yeah, we had dance this past week, not as crazy as last week. Last week we had a lot more announcements.
Exactly.
I know we definitely wanted to make sure we talked a little bit about our contemporary class that we've been doing now with Elena and week 2. And this time we went over more, a little bit more of the choreography for the dance that we've been working on. And we didn't do those exercises at the beginning. I know Elena was like, don't worry, they're not going away. They're not going away, those like acting type exercises.
It was so much fun.
So that means that we're going to have them next week.
Exactly. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't really have too much to add aside from that was what we had this week. Did you want to talk more about the class?
Yeah, again, I love the choreography so much. I think it's a really, really fun routine. And we added a few more steps onto it. I think 2 or 3 more steps or like things that we added onto the routine that we didn't have the first week. I'm glad that you said that we're going to have those little exercises again next week, or that seems likely. Probably. Because they were a lot of fun the first week we did it. I just think it got us kind of ready for what we were going to be doing for the routine, rather than just rather coming in kind of like blind to the situation and coming in like with no like kind of prep at all. And I thought that was really helpful, and they were just really fun because we got like a lot of funny reactions out of them. So I'm really excited that that class has been happening again. I think especially since I'm the one that kind of like advocated for it. Yes. I was like telling Elena for like 3 months, I want the contemporary class, and then she stopped me like a few days before September, so I gave you the contemporary class. I'm like, yes, so finally. So
hopefully it carries through to October.
I'm really hoping so too, and we were just talking about this before we started recording, is that like just how the month kind of worked out. The first 2 Mondays there was a routine, or there was a holiday, and then like something like I think it was 2 holidays or a holiday and then one other day where the studio was closed. And so the first 2 Mondays there was no contemporary class, and so like we're only getting it for like half the month. So I'm hoping that it can kind of continue into October, so we can have it for a full month. This is half the month. But I absolutely love the class. I think it's really fun, and it's definitely, again, like we talked about last week or the week before when we talked about that when we first started doing this class, is that like it's kind of a complete opposite of what we usually do in group class, because obviously we've done like a few like fitness classes and hip hop class and jazz class and stuff like that. But like most, like 95% of the classes at our studio are ballroom based. So like it's kind of fun to get out of, like, obviously we love ballroom and that's what we do mainly, but it's fun to kind of like do something different just for a little bit. And so it definitely is fun to kind of get into a different headspace in a different style of dance as well. And I think that's something I've learned over this first year that I've been at the studio, that like I think it's really important as dancers is to kind of immerse yourselves in different styles of dance and really like grow into different styles of dance too, because I feel like it makes you better at the other styles that you're like more proficient in as well. And that's something I never wanted to do. So I'm really happy that this class is giving us the opportunity to do that, because usually unless we're doing some kind of showcase or something, contemporary is not going to be doing something we usually do all the time. And so I do like that aspect of it. So I definitely agree. I really, really like the class a lot.
Yeah, I took it on my little notepad because that just jogged my memory of something I'm going to ask you on next week's episode, but I'm not telling you now. But no, I agree. The other thing that I totally just remembered that, so Monday we had the contemporary class, then we had our other choreography class, and then I haven't been there since Monday. We're recording this Thursday night. I'm going to be there Friday. We have another coach coming to the studio tomorrow, Hazel Newberry. Right. So I'm going to work with her on my standard, and I also have a lesson with Yuri to work on my Latin tomorrow. So I haven't been at the studio since Monday, and I won't. So I can talk more about that next week, because I won't have that until after, or like right before this post is posted, but after we recorded it. So that was just another thing I forgot to add, but
exactly. And
and also looking forward to the contemporary class again next week.
Exactly. I am too. And it's interesting tomorrow. I'm actually glad you're going to be there too, because tomorrow is also kind of like, I'm technically celebrating it as my 1 year there,
Right. Yes.
because my 1 year actually falls on Saturday and the studio is not open, obviously. So I'm kind of like technically like I have a lesson tomorrow and I'm going to be there for the classes and everything. So like I technically I'm celebrating it as my 1 year there, which is like really crazy to think, because I still vividly remember my introduction lesson last year. Like I can still vividly picture it in my mind, which is like so crazy to me. But so that's fine.
I won't be there for the group classes tomorrow, but I might still see you. But
I'm sure we'll correspond.
We can talk about that offline.
Yeah, exactly, off recording, exactly.
Yeah. But I think so. I know we talked a lot last week too about now how you're shifting gears to do the November competition.
Right.
I have to decide definitely if I'm doing standard at the competition. I think I will. I just
that would be awesome.
Had to just check my schedule and some details, but I know your schedule has gone through like a bit more of a major shift of like prepping for November. So if you want to give more details on that.
Yeah, so I specifically I officially signed up for November, like on what day was it? Monday. Yeah, it was Monday.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Yeah, it was after the class. So I did that and it was really fun to talk about, just because like as you know too, like when we even meet with Ilya or Elena or anybody that like kind of like handles the prepping of the competitions with us, it's kind of like, oh man, this is real now. Like when we actually like start talking about all the details and everything like that. So it was really exciting. And again, like excuse me, when we were there's still this thing in the back of my mind where I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have could do Texas, but just the way they kept explaining it to me, and Elena was explaining it to me, like just about the price and like what I'd be getting out of the competition, like kind of like just the benefits and just the like I'm getting way more dances out of it, and like it's just way cheaper to do again November. Like I get way more out of it out of November than December, like I talked about last week. And then also that the cost of what November is also includes my showcase and also includes the match, and it also includes a night of the hotel that we're staying at or in the competitions at. And that Texas, that price that was already way more than what November was, didn't include any of that, and it didn't include the hotel. So once you add all that, it would have been really, really expensive. So yeah, like I said, it would have been really fun to do that, and that is a goal I have eventually that I want to do. But I'm really excited for November, because again, like I was telling Elena, if there was like no November competition and that was the only opportunity that I had to compete, I'd be a little bit more upset about it. But like, this is going to be so much fun, because it's at a place we already know. I'll get to dance with all of you guys. You guys get to see me compete. And that's the thing I've noticed, is that when I've competed and there's like people cheering for like us and stuff like that, you really feed off that adrenaline. And so I'm excited that you guys will actually get to be there and see my new routines and get to see my showcase, like I've told you about. And I'm assuming, because Lena said we're probably going to start working on our showcase in like a week or two, which is really exciting. So that's going to be fun. And I'm really excited that you guys will get to see that. And then we'll all get to hang out for all the evening events and stuff like that. And then I'll have my friend. I've invited a lot of my friends that are not from
good. Yay.
So I know a lot of them want to come see us too. So I'm really excited for that. And yeah, so that's kind of just the big thing of that whole thing, is that I officially signed up for it this week, and it's really exciting. I'm really excited. Thank you. I think I'm trying to remember. I think I'm doing 7 rounds. I think it's 7 rounds, 2 championships, 1 scholarship, or the other way around with those things. So it's like quite a few dances. Like in total, it's like exactly. Like there's like it's kind of confusing to remember all that, but in total, 32, 34 dances. So I'm going to be like dancing all day pretty much, which is something I've never done, like I said, at a competition like this. So I'm excited to see how my body kind of like takes that, or how my body
work on your stamina. Work on stamina. Like I mean, I don't know. I've been able to kind of like get through it, but like ideally I try to start like doing some more cardio, like running and stuff. I mean, I've been skating a little bit. I skated today this morning. I mean, that's not enough. I need to do more cardio. But cardio I think helps. Just
exactly. No, that's good. And I agree, because I've already started to do a lot of cardio just at home. And like I've told you, I'm actually doing a jazz dance class at my school this year, or this semester. And we do like 15, 20 minutes of cardio before we dance in that class every week. And we do that twice a week. And then I do cardio at my house like the rest of the day. So like I've been really trying to like really get into that. And so I think that will definitely help with my stamina, because as any Latin dancer, like obviously you do use a lot of energy and stamina for like smooth and stuff like that. But literally with Latin, besides rumba, it's like non-stop energy you have to give for every
Yeah.
dance. It's just so fast and so energetic and just everything like that, that I'm really excited to see kind of what that's going to be like. And I think it will help that we're not doing Paso, just because I don't have to like, there will be some breaks where like we'll do the first 5 dances, or we have a break in between the two, between
Yeah.
Rumba and Jive, because usually Paso's fourth.
Yeah.
So I think that will be good, but I'm really excited to see what that's going to be like. Again, like I had told you, I haven't seen, it's really funny because Elena was like, oh, I have like seven what was it, 7 showcases that I have to choreograph and do for November. And I was like, oh my gosh.
I'm trying to count of who. I mean, I'm not doing one.
Yeah. Oh,
I have
okay.
an idea, but I'm nowhere near ready for that.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
definitely something you have to be ready for.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, this is an idea I've had for kind of pretty much the same time as like me deciding I wanted to do the December competition. So like about a year almost. By the time I performed, about a year, just under a year. And I've been seeing her do like the process of choreographing and talking about the other people's showcases. When I've been at the studio, I've kind of just like caught glimpses of her doing those like prep meetings and stuff like that. And so I'm really excited to see what she comes up with for our showcase, just because I think it's going to be really fun, because there's a lot of emotions that are going to go into it. So I'm really excited to see kind of performing those emotions in front of a lot of people is going to be like, because I've never done that before. So I'm excited to see what that's going to be like. And yeah, it's going to be just so much fun. I'm glad you guys are going to get to see it. That's a huge plus for me. I think this can be really special.
Yes. And I will also, I'm just going to say, because you and I haven't even sat down to plan this yet, I'm going to put it on our to-do list. I'm like taking notes. Just like we did for the
July.
the American Open, the dance sport in July, we sat down and we prepped and we're like, when are you going to be there? When are we free? And we like planned to do different stuff. We did the live, like we recorded live in person with Justin as our guest. We also did the live like outside before we went to the event. We filmed some different things and stuff like that. So that week,
want to do that again.
we're gonna plan to do that again. So it's like mid-November. So keep an eye out. We'll let you know. But
that's gonna be so much fun. I think it's gonna be amazing to be there together.
I think what was the other thing I was gonna, the November prep. I think I had that in my head already, but I'm just gonna write that down. Maybe there's something else. So I mean, one non-dance item that I did want to also recap from this week, and I know those of you that might have joined our Instagram live that we did on Wednesday of this week, I talked a little bit about this. And if you follow me on my own personal Instagram, you saw me, I was like posting it everywhere. So I listened to the Lady Gang podcast. I've been listening to them since they started. And I went to their show on Tuesday. I'm wearing the sweatshirt.
Let's go.
University. And because they are also like, how do I say this, Bachelor adjacent, that they do have a lot of Bachelor folks on the podcast. Tasha was there and I got a photo with her. I did not get to talk to her really long. It's just like, hi, can you take a picture? I love you, you're amazing. But I'm going to post it after we finish recording. I'm going to post it on the Instagram, so it will be there. Go take a look at it. And then honestly, if you also, I mean, not that we want to detract you from ours, but the Lady Gang podcast is amazing. They talk about so many great things. I'm just also gonna give them a shout out, because that they were like the first podcast I did listen to one by Real Simple magazine, but then because I had already started using the podcast app, and then I saw Becca Tobin, because Becca Tobin was in Glee. She had posted that she was starting the Lady Gang podcast, which was going by another name when they initially started it that I don't know if I can repeat because there was something. They had to change the name, but I'm glad they stuck with Lady Gang. I did go and start listening to their podcast because I was already on the podcast app, and they were kind of like the first like podcast that I really like committed to, because the Real Simple ones kind of just died out. It was like a little series that but Lady Gang has survived. So I mean, go check them out too. I mean, if we can like amass anything close to that, would be
amazing.
But it was just cool it was also cool to see Tasha too. So that was like another thing I did this week. So
that's so cool. That's amazing. I love that.
Oh gosh. Anyway, I don't know if you want to listen to it, but it's I don't know if it's your style, but I'm just like, I'm sure there's other folks listening that might be interested in it. Just go.
Yeah, I've actually listened to quite a few episodes, not like from
you have.
I have listened to, so I do
probably like the Bachelor interviewed people or the dancing people, because they've had a bunch. I mean, they a lot of them, they have like dance experience. The Kelty group with Caitlin Bristow that I mentioned the other day, and Kelty was actually on The Bachelor for like Brad Womack season way
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
So she like went home night 2, which
Oh,
they always
okay.
make fun of her about. So yeah, so that's just like my other little shout out to them.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have anything else for dance this week, or are we ready to go to our next topic? Our dance this week.
Our dance this week. Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah. We just had group classes and we got ready. We're getting ready for the competition and everything, and that's pretty much what's going on. A lot of fun things.
Okay. All right. Dancing with the Stars premiere.
Yeah.
I think we should start with that. So, as you may or may not notice, we have new backgrounds.
Yeah.
I think when we get to the Bachelorettes, we might just throw it back just for like one last time. But we wanted to really like celebrate the premiere.
Yes, it was so great.
This was the one that I have. I was definitely like the pandemic background that they had when they didn't have an audience.
Yeah, exactly.
But
but it's like a higher angle. But
yeah, and yours like it's got more like purplish of a look to it, which I like. So that's fine. We got the two coordinating colors.
Exactly.
Okay, so I know we wanted to go through our top dances. Do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I can. Do you want me to go over like my overall thoughts, or do you want me to do that last? Because I can do either.
Let's do that last.
Okay,
I think yeah.
Because I wrote that at the top of my notes, but like I can go back and circle around, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So
what were your top dances? And I know you had honorable mentions.
Yes, I did.
How much they lined up.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just go through all of them and then you can throw it to yours. So that's good. So yeah, my first one was actually my first top dance was the first dance of the night, Jordan and Brandon. I thought it was a really good dance. They danced the I don't know if we want to say the song names, but I wrote them down.
You can write it down.
Yeah, how would you say?
You could go for it.
Okay.
I think you said you can write it down because my brain is already started.
Exactly. I was like, if people didn't watch, like we can kind of fill them in. So they danced a cha-cha to I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston, which was like obviously a really fun song. I thought it was really good. She really has really good performing qualities, which obviously is not really surprising just based on how she's kind of been in the entertainment industry for a long time. She really had that kind of like flirty, like just really outgoing kind of personality in the dance, which I really liked. I thought Brandon's choreo was really good, especially for like a night one cha-cha. I thought it was really good. The judges really liked it, and I remember Derek was saying that her foot placement should be a little bit like maybe executed a little bit better, and I could see that, and I definitely think I agree. But overall, I thought it was a really good dance. She got 2 7s and 2 6s were her scores. And I wrote that I probably would have given all 7s, but that's just me. But those were the thoughts I had. I thought it was really cool to see. I like we talked about kind of like in the whole like the cast announcement for Bachelor in Paradise and our bonus episode. I really think that Brandon's like the perfect partner for her because I really feel like they match their energy perfectly. And they are very similar in personality. So I think it was definitely a perfect pairing with the casting and all that. But yeah, those were my thoughts on that dance.
Yeah, they were in my top. They were in my top also. I didn't have really much to add, except I think it was the first dance of the night. So
yeah, exactly.
I thought the fact that she got 6s and 7s, I thought was pretty good because I talked about it in a live. It's sometimes the first person out, the judges could be like a little conservative for the judging, but I think like it was good. I mean, and just like for the nerves and everything, she did a great job. So she was in my top ones too.
Exactly, and I think she'll go far. Like kind of how far she'll go, it's kind of like a little like up in the air. But I do think she will get better, and I think she'll just get more comfortable. She just seems like she has that kind of a quality to her. So I'm really excited to see what she ends up. And I actually wrote this down for a few people, and I'll just bring it up again when I get them. But I'm really excited to see her do kind of more of the like traditional ballroom, like smooth and standard dances, because obviously a lot of those people are like really outgoing and have those kind of like outgoing personalities to show through like the Latin dances or social dances. Yeah, but I'm really excited to see again like how she kind of does with like a waltz or a Venus or tango or something like that. So I'm really excited to see that for sure. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I think no, I didn't take those notes, but I definitely agree. Like it'll be interesting to see and that's the thing too. Once you start doing the ballroom dancing, you understand a little bit better about the dances and just the general dance styles. And we could probably talk a little bit more about that like later on when we go over the episode as a whole. But it's like, okay, so she did a cha-cha, so we got to see like her Latin, but then it's like when you see like something that's a smooth or a standard, like a waltz or a tango, or it's a different style. And some of the other folks did do smooth and standard. Well, they all did it like smooth style, not really standard type. But you know, it's, you kind of you got to see some of them do it, but not everybody do it because of the song choices and whatever. But you know, throughout the season, you do want to see all of them do a good variety of the styles.
Exactly. You know? Yeah, I agree. And again, like we talked about last week, like you just brought up, when with us like being dancers ourselves and going like through dance classes and being involved in the ballroom world a lot, watching the show has become completely different to me, and it's become a really different experience for me because I watch it as like a ballroom dancing student now, not like a fan. So I think because I see like the techniques that are in the steps that are happening in each routine, and I'm like, oh, I do that in my routine and stuff like that, and I know what the steps are called because you learn the vocabulary pretty quickly. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Jordan's dance. So she was in my top.
Yeah, so after Jordan, like just going through the list in order, my other top, or my next top one, was Daniel and Britt.
Yeah, they were mine too. My thoughts when
they did a tango, and it was to Barbra Streisand by Duck Sauce. I started laughing when I heard I started laughing when he said that song, and I was just like, oh, I love it. Because you know, we've mentioned we do have some, you know, some of the folks that we do dance with at the studio are deaf, and it is you know, it is important for them to, sometimes some of them have cochlear implants, so they can hear the music to an extent, but the beat is really important. And I know that, you know, we've talked with some of the instructors that have worked with these students, and it's like really important to have the speakers like on the floor, because the vibrations go through the floor and then they can feel the vibrations on the floor. So I mean, you can't tell, like it's in like the floor for Dancing with the Stars. But I was just like, my immediate thought was like, that song has a great beat for him to follow.
Exactly.
That was my immediate thought. And I mean, he did so well. He was on time, like his lines were great. I love their costumes, like their outfits with the green was like amazing. And I really just, as like just a partnership thing, I really just love that Britt is just really making such an effort to learn ASL. And I think that, you know, it's helpful. And then they have his interpreter, Gabe, that was there too. So it's like, it's cool just to see the whole effort. So I think he could go really far. I really do. He showed it.
Exactly. I agree. Like I said, he was my next top one as well. And I completely agree. I think because as Britt said in the package, that obviously she hasn't worked with somebody who's deaf before, but she wants to make the effort to like not change the way that she teaches, but really adapt the way she teaches for Daniel, which I think is great, that she like is like, hey, I'm gonna make this like the best experience for you. And then again, that she wants to learn sign language as well, because I just think that's so great that she actually is making that effort. I think I've always loved Britt. I think she's an amazing pro. I thought her choreography was great. Obviously, like you said, I love the outfits, and I thought again, it was a really, really good routine. He did great. Again, like you said, his line was really great, and I thought he had that really kind of like fierce tango. It's not tango. This is not a word, but like tango quality in the tango. And that was really good. And they got 3 7s and a 6, which I thought was totally fair. I thought it was really good, and all the judges really liked it. And again, I definitely agree that I think they'll go far too. I think it's something that we'll just see him get better. He seems really confident as well.
Oh yeah, I love to see that.
Yeah, me too.
I love to see that too.
Me too. I loved it. Exactly. That made me really happy to see that he was confident. He didn't seem nervous at all. He just seemed like he was like right in the moment. I'm like, let's go. And I was like, you know what? That's so cool. So yeah, I really loved that dance. It was great.
Yes. Okay, so who is your next top person? We probably have the same person.
Yes, we do probably have the same person. My next one is Wayne and Whitney, which was again, coming into the season, I knew he was going to be great. Like he just has that like amazing personality and just upbeat and just so energetic. And obviously he's danced before, he sings, he does improv, he's been on Broadway. So he really has that performative kind of quality to him. And like I said, we talked about when we were sharing kind of our thoughts on him being cast, we were both like, yep, it's going to remind us of him or us with Alfonso. When he danced with Whitney, and it totally did from this first dance, because I could see Alfonso dancing, like it was the exact same energy that they both had. They danced a cha-cha to Bad Mama Jamma, which was great. The perfect song for him to dance to. It was absolutely great. Whitney's choreo I thought was fantastic. She's always good with that kind of stuff. I've always loved her choreography, especially for Latin. And again, like I said, it was a great energy. He's a really good performer. And he's another one, like I said, I'm so excited to see him do a smoother standard dance because
Yeah.
that's like so different than what I think he's ever done. So I'm
Hmm.
really excited to see him like do a waltz or a tango or a quick step or something like that because that's like completely different than the cha-cha.
Yeah.
And so I think that's gonna be so much fun to see him do that.
Hmm.
Like I said, reminds me a lot of Alfonso. And the judges said that they really liked it, and I forgot who said it, but some of the critiques that they maybe work on his footwork a little bit more and like more
Hmm.
with balance, which I can definitely see because like, he's a huge dude in terms of like height, and
Yeah.
it's probably hard for him to kind of like move around like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And again, Elena's so strict on me with this. She's like, keep your legs straight when we're doing Latin.
Hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
like kind of key #1 rule with your legs in Latin is
Yeah.
keep your legs straight. And I probably someone that height, it's hard to do that the whole dance. So I can definitely see him obviously working on that. And he got 3 7s and an 8, which I thought were great. I actually probably would have personally gave him another 8 if I was
Hmm.
like in charge of all 4 scores. But I thought it was fair pretty much. And again,
Yeah.
so much fun. Again, I'm so glad that they paired him and Whitney together. I think that's a perfect
Hmm.
partnership and pairing because they just again have that similar energy. And Whitney has always seemed to do well with people that have that kind of high energy performance aspect to
Yes.
them and expertise. So again, yeah, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. I think I have a very, very strong feeling he's going to go very far. That's just my thought.
Oh yeah. 100%. I like wrote amazing. My mom and I, because we watched it tonight, and I was just like, he's so good.
He's
He's
so good. I
so
know.
good. And I just laughed because Len was like, that was the most watchable dance.
I know.
And it's just like, you don't want to agree with that statement, but like I did, but it's just also like it sounds mean,
Yeah, it
but
sounds mean. I know.
I think it's like if you weren't in the context of the show and you didn't know, it was like that was a performance that was just like
Exactly.
this is a performance, like a dance performance.
Exactly.
I mean, I think everybody was entertaining, but like I understood what he meant, but
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
just
I
like
just think
it
Glenn
was
says things sometimes where
yeah,
it's just it can kind of sound wrong, but it really isn't
yeah.
meant to be.
At that point, that was like the biggest like knockout one of the night
Right.
as of that
Exactly.
point, I think.
Hands down.
Because that
Yeah.
was the first one that I put it all caps amazing.
Yeah. And I
So
thought it was so
yeah.
great. I'm so happy that
Mhm.
Whitney gave him a little solo bit at the beginning. That was so great. Like I thought he did
Yeah.
something where he was
Oh
just kind of
yeah.
doing those moves, then he like spun down the stairs. I thought that
Yeah.
was so awesome. I knew he was gonna kill that. So
Yeah.
yeah, he did great. It was so great.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And then one of the next ones that I wrote amazing for Shangela and Gleb.
Yes.
So I think the other thing
My
too,
next
just
top one
like
as well. So
yeah, to follow up on our bonus episode, I know he mentioned he said when I'm rehearsing I am he him, when I am in drag I am she her. So I was
yeah.
like okay, so that I was like I'm pretty sure in the context of the show we can just refer to Shangela as she. So
She.
I just was like trying to make sure I'm getting the pronouns, but
Yeah.
yeah, she was also like it takes me 4 hours to look like this, so I'm not rehearsing like this. And
That
I'm
was
like
so fun.
okay, I mean listen, I know how long it takes me to put makeup on.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So but I mean the two of them were amazing. They did the salsa. I forgot what song they did, but I love the costumes.
When I grow up.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. But the Pussycat Dolls. It was so good. It was so good. And I think it's just you just wonder like when in her I mean I'm not I don't really follow the drag community that much,
Yeah.
but you just and I think it was like you wonder like is she going to be able to utilize more of this in her
Yeah.
like shows now? I mean yeah, you need a partner to do it too, but I thought it was great. They also had the clip when she did the kick and the landing and I was
That
like
was
oh
so
my
good.
god,
That was
I
so
can't even
funny.
do that. We've been talking about that move at the dance studio and I was just like
Exactly.
I will impale myself. So it was great. They look like they have a great partnership. I think it's great. And they did say she is the first drag, first person that does drag to be on the show. So I was like, that's it's another first.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and they killed it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, they're my next top one too. They absolutely killed it. I put amazing in all caps, so like because again, same thing. It was so good. Again, the energy
I
level was
know.
great. And again, like Gleb was saying in the pack is that it's the first male to male partnership as
Hmm.
well. Like obviously we had JoJo and Jenna last season.
Yeah.
But it again now it's male to male, which I think is great. And like I said, Gleb is the absolute perfect partner for her. I think that it
Hmm.
like Gleb, like I said, has always been the he's always been at his best when his partners know how to be flirty and like and go all out in the performances, because he really likes to showcase that in his choreo. I've always noticed that.
Yeah.
And so that's why
Yeah.
I thought like Sandra's like, I'm gonna go out here and kill it. Like,
oh yeah, Shangela has
she has no doubt,
no inhibitions. So I was like,
yeah, exactly. She had no insecurities from what we could tell. And I think Gleb, like again, like really does well with those kind of partners. And like I said, it was spicy and flirty and amazing. Again, like I said that, and she just really was like out there. I'm like, I'm gonna absolutely kill it, and she did. And a little, like I said, they said I didn't really see much of a footwork issue, but that's what I wrote down in my notes that the judges said. And like obviously everybody in the first week probably can work on their footwork. Everybody's not going to be flawless for the first week.
How many years have I been dancing and I can still work on my footwork?
Exactly, me too. I'm like, yeah, exactly.
After 2 weeks, I think they'll still need to work on their footwork.
Exactly, we all need to work on our footwork. Exactly.
Yeah.
But like I said, it was absolutely great. They got all 7. But I said I probably would have given at least 1-8. That's just me. That's how much I love it. But I think it's fair pretty much. But again, it was so good. I think she'll go really far. And again, Gleb just was, it seems like he's really supportive of her and really is like has her back, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And again, it was just so good. I love that performance a lot.
Same. Oh gosh. So who did you have next as your top?
I
think I might know.
Again, let me know what you think.
Oh, for my next one, who I think is
who you think my
Gabby and Val?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. You were exactly right.
I was like, I wrote amazing also.
Exactly. Do you want to go first on that, or do you want me to go?
You could go. You start this one off.
Okay. Yeah, it was so great. I thought like we talked about last night on the live stream, I knew she was gonna go out there and kill it. And she absolutely did. And she danced a jive to As It Was, which I thought was a really cool song choice. I thought the set was pretty cool because it kind of like matched like what I think Gabby was like energy would be, like all pink and everything like that. I was like, that's definitely Gabby. So that's pretty cool. And it was great. It was a great performance. I thought Val's choreo was fantastic. And the reason I say that is because he obviously always has fantastic choreo.
Yeah.
But for this dance specifically, she had mentioned, obviously, and we've talked about this before, where she's like danced all through high school, but she like the biggest thing she's known for performance-wise is being a Broncos cheerleader. And obviously she kept saying that she's more of a performative dancer and not a technical dancer. I don't
think she wants people to like come on, because then Alfonso said she's like, shh.
No, that was so funny. And then I love when
talking about Melissa Rycroft, and I was
that was so funny. I love when like exactly at that point where Alfonso was like, she was a cheerleader. How does that help you? And then all she said, like her only answer was, I'm a performative dancer, not a technical dancer. She's like, does it answer your question? He's like, no, but we don't have any time, so I'll say that yes. That was so hilarious. That was great.
I think we just get more Gabby time after we've like loved watching her on the Bachelorettes for all those weeks. I love how she started off the lesson with Val, and she's like, do you think you got the lemon? Like,
that was so great.
I'm not great at explaining the phrase, but like it's a thing with like, they always joke there's like the lemon law when you go get a car that you think it's like a fake or something, it's not like up to standards. So
yeah, exactly.
Lemon.
Exactly.
Go.
And Val was like, Gabby has that spaghetti bolognese.
Spaghetti bolognese arms, and I was like,
I was like,
so tall.
I know, and she has really long arms like I do, so my arms have been really hard for me to do, so I can definitely understand. And she also said at the beginning of the package that, and we talked about this on the live stream, is that she said ballroom and just through that first week of rehearsals, that it still felt weird to her and it didn't feel natural because obviously she hasn't done that kind of dance before. I'm sure like just based on what I've seen in like the pictures and she's talked about, she's probably done like tap jazz, hip hop, stuff like that. Ballet, not ballroom obviously. And like we talked about in the performance, you definitely could tell it was new to her, but she really adapted to it. I thought the chemistry was great. I thought that her legs looked really good in terms of like strength on the kick and everything like that. It was really high energy. And like I said, the reason I thought Val's going back to that, the reason why I thought Val's choreography for this dance specifically was so good was because going back to her being a cheerleader, when you're doing that, it's a lot of performance-based things and kind of like showing off to the crowd. and just being really confident in yourself. And Val put out you probably, if you like didn't really notice or pay attention that well, you wouldn't see it, but there were like 3 or 4 instances in the dance where Val put like her kind of like being all flirty with herself and stuff like that in the dance, and there were like 3 or 4 instances like that I think she really shined in with, like that made her feel more comfortable with the routine. And I'm really happy he put those moves in the choreography. Judges said that they thought she'll go really far and that she did well. And she got 28 all 7s. And again, like I said, I probably would have given maybe 1 or 2 8s. I guess again, I'm kind of a little biased, but I really, no, exactly.
They want them to know they have room to grow.
Exactly right. I agree, but I felt kind of like a proud sibling or something like that after watching this, because it's like she was just so good, and just since we've watched her kind of like for a year and have gotten to know her for a year, like we know her in some way. I'm sure most of Bachelor Nation feels like that. So it was really, really great to see her do that. And like we talked about on the bonus episode, I do really think Val's the perfect partner for her as well. So I thought she absolutely,
not that we're biased or anything, because now we're like on the second degree of connection with her, but
yeah, that's what I thought. She was
not at all, but no, I thought she did great, and like Val really packed a lot of technical stuff in there, I felt like, and she did really well with it. I think just, her legs were really good. I mean, obviously she probably straighten her knee a little more, but like I think if you do a lot of that dance, like the pointing your toe is a little more ingrained. I did notice like her arms and shoulders did seem a little stiff, which I think is what he was like mentioning, because I know like when she was like doing the one part, I was just like, it didn't look like super odd, but I'm just like, we're gonna keep an eye out that gets better throughout the show. But like the whole she just carries it with such confidence that it's like, I feel like the average person's not going to notice that. We notice that because we get criticized for it.
Exactly.
But she's also really tall. So like if you have like long arms, and that's why you
exactly
spaghetti bolognese, and I was like,
that was really funny. And I was like, I know what you mean, because it's like my arms has always been my hardest thing with dancing. So I'm like, I know.
Oh gosh. And Rachel was there, and it was like,
that made me so happy. She was so proud. It made me
she was so proud. And then I think we'll get to the Bachelorette stuff later, but I'm hoping then like Eric will be there next week.
Really hoping
to watch her. So I guess like obviously they couldn't have him there Monday, because then it was like spoiler.
And that's what I've heard too. That's what I've heard too from people talking about it, is like most of the time when they've had like Hannah on, or like other Bachelorettes, or even Matt and stuff like that, it's been after the season. So like they've been able to like say, oh, I found happy ending, or I didn't. And like they'll be able to like be there with their person, the fiance or girlfriend, boyfriend. But this week they couldn't do that because the finale wasn't until the next night. So it was
just like, oh gosh, by one day. But I mean, I think it was fair that like Rachel was there, so then Eric can be there next week. So we're good.
Exactly. I'm sure.
Oh my gosh. So oh my gosh, we could just keep talking about it. We're gonna end up talking about her more later.
Exactly right.
Like she had a nuts, her week was nuts. I can't only imagine. But
no, I think from what I've seen on Instagram, I think she's back in LA now. So like with Eric, I think he stayed there. So like
I didn't realize they were both in LA, and we can
they're gonna plan to move there now, I think.
Or they're both in LA area, or at least both in California, and then I think she said his lease was finishing on his apartment, and then they're gonna move in together.
Yeah, but that's a crazy 24 hours. Like
I didn't realize he was living there, because
me neither.
He's from New Jersey. I thought he was living here.
Yeah, I know. I was like, maybe Gavin
from here.
Jersey, but I guess. But that must have been a crazy 24 hours for her. It's like LA, LA, New York, back to LA in like less than 48 hours. Like that's.
Well, did they? Oh my gosh! Wait, no. Yes, they did, because wasn't she on Regis? Not Regis.
Kelly and Ryan.
Kelly and Ryan. I'm sorry, I'm saying Regis.
No, I know.
Kelly and Ryan. Were they on it the next day, or was she on it?
They were
no. They were in LA, and then New York.
Yeah, LA, New York. Yes.
So I was thinking. I was like, I went through this in my head earlier.
You're right.
They definitely didn't do that.
I completely forgot.
It was still probably a crazy like 48 to 60, 72 hours.
Exactly. And like I said yesterday, when they were here in New York, or in the New York area, they like did 15 or plus interviews for the whole day, and it was like so crazy. And then it's like the night before she danced, or the night before they did the finale, and then the night before she danced.
Yeah.
And now she's back in LA with it. And it's just probably just like so crazy for the both of them, and especially Gabby because she's doing the stars. But yeah, I agree.
Oh my gosh. So my next top one, which I don't know, this might be shocking. I thought Joseph and Daniela did really good.
You know what? They're my honorable mention too, so I can say I can them now.
I mean, Len was like, your feet are too soft and floppy.
Fine, I understand.
I thought he had great energy.
I thought he did too.
I thought it was really good. I mean, he's like, he's like a bulky guy. So like, and he's tall, but he kept up with her timing wise. I think, and listen, Danielle is the current champion. So I thought he did really well. I have high hopes for him. So I don't know. I don't really have much else to say except for like, that really took me by surprise. It was better than I thought it might be. I figured he'd be good, but it was it shocked me a bit.
Yeah,
in a good way.
I completely agree. And like I said, they're an honorable mention. I know we're going to do that. We're supposed to do that later, but I might as well talk about it. I have it here. But I was really surprised by him. It was really good. And again, like I talked about on the live stream, especially with like Amon, Daniela, we've talked about it. She's probably one of my favorite pro dancers of all time. Just like, even though she's only been in the public eye for such a not a short amount of time, but not as long as the other pros. But she is so good, and her choreo is always fantastic. And I feel like she can adapt her choreo to really best fit her partner. She did that with Amon. I think she's doing the exact same thing with Joseph. And they did a jive to Pump It by Black Eyed Peas, which is great. That was like a really fun song choice. Again, I thought the choreography was great. I thought that the partnership was great. I thought they had really good energy. And again, jive kicks are not easy. And even though maybe again, Len said that his footwork was floppy, like maybe it was to an extent, but I think he really kept up with it. And just really didn't give up. And like Carrie Ann said, just like Amon, she was like really curious about him and being like, hey, you really could go far in this. You were really, really good. And I'm just kind of blown away by it. And I was same thing. And I said, and they said maybe just a little bit more looseness in the footwork. But that just will just kind of get better with everybody. But I thought the musicality was good. I thought he controlled really well in terms of his like just physique and just in his control of just his whole body movement and everything. They got 3 6s and a 5. I probably would have given them all 6s, because I actually how surprised I was. But I thought
gave him the 5. I forgot.
Probably Len, because if he's the one that's like a real stickler for like the like
soft and flappy.
Exactly. But they really surprised me. I was really, really like surprisingly impressed and kind of surprised by them, and I'm excited to see him get better, because I think he will. And he seemed very confident. I actually got that. He seemed like he had a lot of good energy and didn't seem nervous to me.
No, I thought definitely.
Yeah, that's right.
So who was your next top one?
So my next top one was Selma and Sasha. And they did a Viennese waltz, and I thought it was so good. And again, like we talked about on the bonus episode when they announced the cast, we had talked about how Selma was diagnosed with MS back in 2019. And she talked about that her form of MS is like, it kind of impacts her bones and her muscles. So like sometimes her muscle kind of like ability is a little bit slower than other people's. And that kind of makes balance and like ability and kind of just stamina a little bit difficult for her. But I thought, again, you could not tell that she has any of those problems based on the dance to me. I thought it was really good, and like everybody, all the judges said, I thought she had great lines. I thought she was so fluid in her movements. I thought her arms were great. I thought her legs were great. I thought Sasha's choreo was really good. It actually reminded me, even though it was Viennese waltz, I thought it had a lot of like contemporary like feelings in it. It's probably just the song and kind of like the lighting and all the staging and stuff like that. But I thought it was a beautiful dance, very inspiring. I thought, again, you couldn't tell she had anything that she was like really kind of debilitating to her just based on the dance. I think Sasha did an amazing job choreographing it. I think his routine was really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, that I just thought it was really good, and I'm really excited to see what she does next. It was really good. I can go to this. They got 28. I probably like it. Maybe I'd give them 1-1 or 1-8. But again, I think it's pretty fair.
Yeah.
But she got third place, so I'm not, or
Yeah,
second. Yeah, she got third place because it was Charlie, Gabby.
No, I think Selma was second.
Yeah,
I think Gabby got 30.
I got it written. Selma was third.
Oh no, Selma was
Selma
30.
and
Gabby
Charlotte.
was, I think,
Yeah.
28 maybe.
Yeah.
I think Gabby was in like a tie with people.
They were tied for third, so it was like Selma.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what your thoughts on the dance.
Selma.
Really
So
good.
like they did the whole intro package. I was like gonna cry during just the intro package.
I mean, yeah.
Sasha said that they're neighbors.
I know, I heard that because
I was like, oh my gosh, like, so I mean, I think we talked about with like Sam and Cheryl, how they like had known each other from the years of like everything, and then I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm sure it was just so much more special to her and him too, because you know, like they already have that understanding. And you know, I think it was just even just like watching her rehearse, like I looked at her legs, like I was like, her legs are so thin, and I don't know if that's just her body or if that's the condition, but I just was like, you know, that's a genuine concern, and I think it's just also like the involuntary movements. It's like she could practice and practice and practice, but it's like it happens when she's performing, like there's only so much you can do. And I think that's the hardest part for her, is just like it's like this lack of trust in her own body, which I think like on a day-to-day basis she's had to learn to deal with it, but now like in the dancing portion, it's another level of what she needs to work on. And you know, I think it's just great to see her so positive, and the dance was beautiful. I mean, I know like so many people were just saying how it brought them to tears, and that's like the intro package had me in tears. The dance, like it's like, oh, I'm backing up that, but no, it's really good. I am very excited to see how far she goes. Me too. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of groundbreaking things that she does, and I would hope she gets far enough that she can do a freestyle, honestly.
I really hope so too, and I'm excited to see her do some Latin stuff. I think she's going to be really good.
Yeah, it will be cool to see. That was like the really heartfelt one right off the get-go, but
exactly. And they showed everybody getting emotional in the audience, which obviously there's a really good reason for it. And I thought it was great because Sasha, again, in the intro package, she seems so like patient with her, because that was really, really inspiring for me to see. And I obviously knew Sasha's a great person, so I knew that was like I already knew that of her personality, but like seeing that with her, because obviously I think they were doing something where she had to step forward and her leg went back or to the side, and she like really got upset herself, and Sasha was like, no, it's okay, you're doing great, just like try this way and just do smaller steps. He was really, really being patient and supportive with her, and I thought that was so sweet. And again, I think probably them knowing each other from off the show probably helps, but I thought it was great. I think the Viennese, well, I'm glad they chose that dance for them for their first one, for sure.
Oh yeah, same. And then finally, the last top dance of the night, Charlie and Mark. So they did the cha-cha to the song, the Savage. Is that the name of the song?
Savage. I've heard the song.
Is that the name of the song? It's just that's always the line.
It's always this, that's like the main word they say in the song. I don't know the song well enough to like know the title, but that's what
So like I watched it that night. Like that was the only dance I made it to see live. And then I like watched it again tonight with my mom, and then it just like reiterated, like I was paying more attention to the choreography, and I was like, man, that was the best choreography of the night. And like the judges mentioned it. I think she got 32 was her score, and it was so good because it was like that's what I think Carrie Ann said, like you got to see so many different styles like in that short section, and there was cha-cha, and there was good cha-cha, and then she like they added the TikTok stuff, and they added some of the like the hip hop things and whatever, and it was great. And I think it was just because I hadn't seen her intro package the other night. I only got to see literally the dance and then the elimination, but her intro package too, I thought it was, you know, she said like she grew up dancing, and then it's like once she the TikTok stuff, like I'm not demeaning people that are doing TikTok dances, strictly TikTok dances. There's a lot of people that are on TikTok that do dancing that's not like TikTok dances. I never got into the whole dance TikTok thing. Me neither. Yeah. But I will post my dance videos on TikTok.
But not do a TikTok trend.
TikTok dance.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is that like she was basically saying like focusing on doing all of that took me out of like my true dance stuff, and I want to get back to that. So I think she also just wants to kind of, there's got to be like a feeling of like needing to like prove myself, like I'm not just like doing like this thing, like I know how to dance,
Right.
and I think, night one she already showed that. So
Exactly.
yeah, I think that was, yeah, those are my top. So I don't know what you had about her, and then go right into your honorable mentions after that if you had
Okay.
more.
Okay, exactly.
I
Again,
had one.
yeah, I think I had two or three, but I already mentioned one with Joseph, so I might be down two or three.
Mhm.
But I know we can go to the ones that we said we'll talk about that maybe are not honorable mentions, but just we want to say a few things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that they were absolutely fantastic, and obviously I think the scores were indicative of that.
Mhm.
And I wrote in all caps, I was like, Mark is back, because I was so happy to see
Yeah.
Mark. I grew up with him because like I said, I started watching in season 4, and I think he started season 6 or 7. So like
Mhm.
first 2 or 3 years I was watching, he was on. So I really grew up with him.
Mhm.
And it's like so crazy that we actually got to meet his mom. I think that's kind of like a cool fact.
Yeah, yeah.
Not before. I think she was actually there. I thought I saw Shirley in the audience just based on what
Oh gosh,
I might have seen it. But again, it was again with Charlie saying that she really felt like she wanted to get back in the true dance world,
Mhm.
because obviously TikTok dancing is like a little pretty different than the regular dance world, and obviously
Yeah.
she had been doing like professional dancing
Mhm.
and competing since she was like 5 years old, which is a pretty young age. And I can see why social media will take you away from that, especially if you get really big on it. But I think that's pretty
Yeah.
cool and inspiring that she's like, you know what, I'm just gonna get back into it. And it was so funny when I can get to the dance in a second, but I just a little side note. That was so funny when Tyra was like when they were interviewing her, and she was like, "Oh, she's so sweet and wholesome," and she's like, "I thought she was the comment." She's like, "Hey, what up? I'm a
Oh
TikTok
yeah.
star." That was so funny.
Well, I think they're trying to like put her as a poster child for Gen Z. Is she Gen Z? No,
She's
she's.
18, so it might be Alpha. Gen Alpha
I'm gonna
is
look this up. Keep
yeah.
talking.
I forgot what I don't know what the year is.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
Okay. So again, like I said, she had that like swaggerness and confidence and just really high energy. I thought that she was so good at it, and again, just showed all the confidence. Like we said, we were watching her. I guess she was posting. I think Mark was posting something.
She's
Of
Gen Z
Gen Z. Okay, that makes.
because you have to be born by 2012, and she said she was 4 in 2008, so she's born in 2004. So she's like
Okay.
middle of Gen Z.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're trying to make her the poster child of Gen Z on the show. I think that's why
Exactly.
like Tyra's like, I
Yeah.
thought she was gonna be like blah, 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 blah. And then,
Exactly, exactly. I just thought that part was really funny. And she's like, "Oh, look at her, she's so sweet and wholesome." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." But it like we said, we were talking about on the live stream. I think Mark was posting some of their rehearsal like at the beginning of the
Mhm.
weekend last weekend, and that's why we kind of guessed she was doing cha-cha because she was doing lockstep.
Locksteps.
And I was like, "Wow, those locksteps look good."
Mhm.
And I was like, "That's awesome." And so she like I said, she just had that swaggerness and high energy, and she seemed really confident. There was like no doubt of like in her mind, even though she's like, "I was
Mhm.
so nervous," but it didn't really seem like it. I thought Mark's choreo was um so good, and I love Mark's
Yeah.
Latin choreography. I've always loved Mark's Latin choreography, and like I had said last night in the live stream, Mark, especially like with people who have had hip hop kind of experience, like the
Yeah.
main one that jumps out at me is Sabrina Bryan from 2007.
Mhm. Mhm.
And their first week one dance was the Cha-Cha 2. That's like really famous with Dancing with the Stars fans. And he like included like hip hop moves in that as well. And like you said,
Yeah.
that most of the dance, like 85-90% was the like true cha-cha content, which was great. But I thought it was cool that he added like the TikTok hip hop moves for Charlie, because I think that again with Gabby, going back to like the performance side, it really helped her
Yeah.
kind of really feel comfortable with it.
Mhm.
Again, I thought all her movements were really, really sharp. I and just really clean and precise. I just absolutely loved it. Again, she just seems so confident, and like I said, I'm really excited to see. She's another person I'm excited to see do like a slower, smoother standard dance, because again, that's completely different than TikTok dancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that'll be fun to see her kind of be a little bit like true ballroom.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was so good. And then they got all eights, highest score of the night. I completely agree with that. I think that was absolutely well deserved, and yeah, really, really good. I'm really excited to see. I think she's going to go far. If she's not, I mean, if not go really far, I think she'll win the competition. But again, it's kind of too early,
possibly. Yeah.
but I think it's a very just with her following and how good she did the first night. It's like there's at least a strong possibility she's going to win.
Yeah.
So, well,
100%.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so who are your honorable mentions?
So let me go back and let me see. So I talked about so yeah, my first honorable mention was, let's see. There was so many notes here. Okay, here we go. My first honorable mention was Heidi and Artem. And I thought they during the intro package, it was really cool because Pasha, oh not Pasha, it's Artem. But Artem, again, they seem to really have a good connection off the bat, and like they really seem like they have fun together. And she had said in the intro package that she danced like again like competitively when she was younger, but hadn't done it in a long time. But she like wanted to get back into it. And they did the cha-cha Lady Marmalade, which I thought really fit the kind of scene well, because the whole like staging and everything was very like cool Latin stuff. I thought that was really cool. Again, it was lots of fun. I enjoyed it. I thought the judges said they wanted her to project more, which I could agree with. Just again, kind of fill up the room a little bit more. But I thought just overall it was really, really good. I thought again, she really seemed to have really good confidence and really high energy. And excuse me, I just thought again, I just thought the confidence that she had was really shown in the dance. And I thought Artem's choreography was really good. I liked how they just really seemed to, it was just kind of effortless for them. And I just thought, again, it was kind of cool to see the whole mother-daughter thing, because again, obviously they've had like the spouse, husband and wife.
Yeah.
But obviously this is probably the first like mother-child thing, competition or people competing against each other. And yeah, I really liked it, and I'm really excited to see her more. I think she's going to do really well. Like also, I thought it was really good for sure.
I didn't have her listed as an honorable mention, but I did like her routine. I just like it didn't like wow me, but it was good.
I was fighting. I was debating if I wanted to put it or not. I originally did, but then when I watched it again, I was like, okay, maybe I will.
Yeah, I was like, I think because I watched that one last night, and then maybe I don't know, maybe
exactly.
I went back after. The one honorable mention I did have. I'm still gonna use the lines, and the next week I have to change them to the new aligners. Anyway, Trevor and Emma.
That was my next one.
That was your next one. So like they did a quick step, and his like whole intro package, he was like, I'm nervous. I have to say, I thought he was keeping his frame up pretty good. And Emma was like so nervous in the intro package. She's like, I've never had a partner that might faint on the show. And when they asked him like how he was feeling, and he like had some combination, he was like exhilarated, scared, shaky, and a little nauseous.
Well, that's what he said. That's what
he said.
He said, say your emotions or what you thought in 5 words.
Yeah, it was it's like he knew exactly what he had to say. But no, I thought it was good. Like I do quick step for standard. I mean, they did it, I thought it was pretty good. He kept up with her. I mean, like obviously there's the details, but like his frame was okay. It wasn't like it didn't look bad, but it was pretty good first week. I mean, that's not an easy dance either. So so shout out to him too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then you had the same one too.
Yeah, exactly. He was my next honorable mention. I think the reason it became an honorable mention for me is because he kept saying in the intro package, he's like, yeah, I'm the only person that I know that has an actual phobia to dance. And then Emma was like, oh no. And I thought that was so funny. But again, I actually was very, very, very impressed with Emma's choreography. I thought Emma's choreography was so good for the quick step. I thought she had so much content, and like all the judges said, you did so much quick step content in this, which I like completely agreed with. And the reason I think I put it as an honorable mention and I wanted to was because of how much he was harping on the fear of dancing, and he actually wasn't that bad. Like I think he really gained confidence. And they said the judges maybe loosen up a little bit more in the foot direction, which I again agree with, just because it's first. And if he's saying he's scared of dancing and it's just like probably his first professional dance, I think he actually did really well. And they said all of them liked it. They got 3 5s and a 6. I know we didn't say Heidi's score, but I said maybe I would have given it another 6. It just in terms of performance, But I love how Carrie Ann week 1 is already like complaining about a lift. Like she's like the lift stickler.
I mean, they have to nail them.
They have
but
to,
like,
that's fine, but it's like really funny to me that she's like, lift, come on.
she says it when they're doing the scores, and I'm like, but then she said it was a jump. I don't know. I have to go watch and like look back at that thing.
Yeah, me too.
She's like, it
I
was a
thought that was really
jump.
funny. It's like week
I
1.
do a jump in my quick step.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like again, quick step, and even before the whole lift thing, Carrie Ann was like, you say you're skilled at dancing, and then the first dance they give you is quick step. That's probably one of the hardest ballroom dances that you can ever do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. I think it was like part of it depends on the song they picked, but
exactly.
anyway.
But yeah, I agree. And they danced Dancing with Myself, which I think is a Billy Idol song.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But again, quick step, and like that's what I've always loved quick step, because like I said a few episodes ago, the next style I'm going to get into next year is standard, and one of the main reasons I want to start standard first rather than smooth, obviously, because like we talked about, I want to like kind of get the footwork and the frame down first before I start adding the style stuff. But I've always loved quick step, even though I know it's probably really hard to learn, but I've always been excited to learn it. But so yeah, again, just from what I've seen, it looks like it's a really hard dance. So I'm actually very impressed with him. I really thought, and
I was impressed with him too.
I thought the choreography was good, and I just thought he did really well.
All right. So we got through the top dances and honorable mentions. I know you and I discussed, because there's so many people, we can't really, we don't have the time to discuss everything, because we do need to get to the Bachelorettes.
Yes.
But the few things we wanted to just add. So Sam, Champion, and Cheryl, I just wanted to add like one thing. I know Len was kind of being picky, probably about his heel leads on the Foxtrot, because let me tell you, we were just talking about quick step being hard. I honestly think that Foxtrot is harder to learn correctly.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, that dance was the bane of my existence for a while until I got the rolling in the heels. So, Len's gonna be picky on that. I don't know, did you have anything about Sam and Cheryl?
I kind of said the same thing.
But they did well.
Yeah, I thought he actually did very well, and I thought that he had really good charisma. And I was really happy again with the whole Cheryl, like they've known each other for a long time and everything like that. Same thing. Obviously, Len's gonna be picky. We just that's fine. But I thought he did well.
And then Vinny and Coco. So I think like they were definitely rough on them, because I think we were talking about this when we did the live, and he didn't do a lot technically, and that's where I think they were kind of nailing him a bit. But I'm honestly glad that like Derek like paused and welcomed Coco to the show, because it was like, he's been in that position first where you're the pro and you're like a new pro, and it's the first time you're doing any of this and all that. And like I do feel like the feedback like from a technical standpoint was valid, but they just didn't word it nicely. And I think that's where it definitely seemed like they were rough on him, and he had the lowest score of the night. And Coco, like, it's her first time as a pro on the show, and it's like, how is that gonna make her feel?
Exactly.
Like he did okay. Like, I don't know, he'll be okay. I mean, we'll see how. Oh, and they did a salsa too. So I think that was just. Did you have anything on them?
Yeah, I actually had quite a bit on them, just because of how the whole judges thing. I know. I actually, and this was interesting because I saw a lot of people like talking about this, like on when the video was posted on YouTube of the dance, where they thought that I actually said I thought the choreo was okay, or at least decent. Everybody else was saying that Vinny's like technical stuff was not like, it could be improved, but they were saying that maybe her choreography wasn't the best, which I don't think I agree with. I thought it was like fine for the song.
Yeah.
But and I had said that again, I didn't think they did that bad. I don't think they did as bad as the judges made it seem. I think the judges were a little bit too harsh for week 1. And again, I'm glad Derek, but Derek's always the one I feel like that's like really positive, because even if they're like not like technically like completely perfect technically, he's still like, oh my gosh, you know what, I enjoyed it. And that little thing you did over there, I absolutely like, I love that he really like tries to make the people feel special.
Well, he's had the experience of being
a dancer and a pro.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And I think the 4s were a little bit too low. Like I don't like I probably would have given them all 5s to me, because like again, I think 5 is a low score. And I think that would have been fine to like, I think 4s were a little bit mean and a little bit too harsh. And again, I think when Len sees something, especially that he doesn't like, his mind just kind of goes to like, I'm gonna call that out right there what I think, not kind of like he has really no filter. And again, like, I just feel so bad for Coco because it's like the first dance that she does on the show, and it was just so awkward. I was like,
we'll see how they pick it up.
I think they will pick it up, and I think she'll learn too. I think Coco will learn too, and I think she'll like try to get better herself as well. But I didn't think it was bad as everybody else said.
I just, if you want to, because I know you had something about Cheryl and Louis.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about Jason and Peta after.
Okay, awesome. So Cheryl and Louis, they did a cha-cha to Gotta Give It Up, Marvin Gaye. And I thought that was like a really fun song. It was so awesome to see Louis back. Again, he's he's the OG pro, the first pro ever on the show. So that was like really cool to see him back. And I love the old school like vibe they gave him, because obviously like 70s disco song. They had like the 70s outfits on, like the disco kind of like vibe in the ballrooms. I thought that was awesome. I like just like it was really funny when what's her name, Carrie Ann, like I wrote down my notes of the dance while it was going on. And the first thing I wrote down was like, I love the swagger that Carol has. And that's exactly what Carrie Ann said. I'm like, you know what? She did. She really seemed like she was like, you know what? I'm going for it. And I'm like, at her age, I'm like, you know what? Let's go, Cheryl. That's awesome.
My mom was like, I've always loved her.
Yeah, and that was like
I've always loved her.
Yeah, again, they just said that she needed to kind of fill up her like a little bit more energy, which I agree with. At her age, I like, what do you really want to expect? She's like not the youngest person in the competition. But again, I was surprised by like the confidence and like just again swagger that she had. She was she really was going for it. Yeah,
I think they just were kind of like, you could have done more.
That's what was Carrie Ann called out Louis for that, and he's like, oh, no offense to it, because she said, I actually think that thing was that routine was a little more simple for you.
I mean, it's the first week, so he wants to play it safe. And not for nothing, Louis, like, Mark hasn't been on the show in a while, but like
he hasn't been on the show for like 7 years.
Mark is also younger, and I don't want this to be I don't want this to be an age thing, but I think it's just like, I feel like Louis been not on the show longer than Mark is not on the show. So like I feel like maybe Louis just it's like he
wants to like ease back into it.
The show stepped up. Like there's a lot of other things that they really stepped up to do in that time since then. So I think maybe it's just like, I mean, it's week one, and you know, Cheryl is also older, but I think that's the thing, is like, so I hope he pushes her more next week. That's the biggest thing. Like,
and I think he will. I think he will.
I think he will. And then so Jason and Peta did go home, which I'll just give a comment, and then that can kind of segue into our notes on the episode as a whole. I mean, I thought like just from the dance perspective, he was kind of stiff, but it was like, okay, like it's you know, it's the first week, like that's the whole thing. I don't know. Did you have anything about like the actual dance?
Let me see. I think I did, but I just want to make sure that I see.
Segue into the notes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, that's the problem with all these couples, is that I get my notes mixed up. But yeah, I think same thing. Like I said, they it's really they did the cha-cha to get lucky, which I thought was a fun song, and again the fun environment. Again, I thought he was a little like stiff, and again that's kind of to be expected. He doesn't have much dance experience. I thought it was a fun routine. That's the thing, you know, also is that she really again can get the most out of her partners, even if they don't have much dance experience and a little bit uncomfortable dancing. And again, this will segue into our overall thoughts, but I said I really would have loved to have seen them do a second dance, and that's the problem. I know we talked about this. That's kind of the problem I had with the elimination the first week, like we talked about on the live stream. I would have preferred, and we would have preferred that they had the double elimination next week, rather than like, just because it's kind of unfair to be like, hey, this first time you go on live TV and someone who's never danced before, like you were going to eliminate you. Like, so I didn't like that.
No, I don't either. And like on top of it, okay, so this will segue in. I have never liked when they have an elimination on the first night. Never. Not even in the old iteration of the show, because you don't give them enough time to take it in, take the judges' feedback, and apply it. And I feel like, even though it all boils down to the voting at the end of the day, a lot of it boils down to like, are you learning? Are you applying yourself? And are you improving each week? That is a huge portion of the show. And I feel like if you eliminate somebody on the first week, you're robbing them that opportunity. I would rather see a double elimination on the second night than that. And I think that always just bothers me. And on top of it, I don't like the way they do it of the
judges.
and I know they haven't always done it this way, but it's like they eliminate it to the bottom two and they make the judges pick. And I'm like, no, I always feel like it should be that the lowest two scores of the based on the technical and the judges' votes, the lowest two scores should be in the bottom two, and then the votes decide who stays.
Yeah.
That like your technical puts you in the bottom two, and then the popular vote saves you. And obviously they can't do that when they get to like the last three people, but I feel like that's the point. The incentive is getting the votes,
right,
to help boost your score no matter what the score is.
Yeah.
But sometimes the number of votes that people get are probably like astronomically different than each other.
Exactly.
So I just feel like it's like, make the incentive learning to dance and getting the judges' scores, and then the voting is the bonus. And not to mention that on the Disney Plus iteration of it, you can only vote during the actual show. So you have like an hour and 50 minutes to vote, not like 12 hours like we would. And I feel like it was probably just, what the heck, this first time, like probably so many people didn't know that. So the voting was probably not even that high.
Exactly.
So I just feel bad.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. And I know they've been away from this for probably like 10 plus years at this point, but like I've really missed the double like show night where they have like dancing Monday, Tuesday, because I really like that format, because it's like you don't forget. It's like, oh, okay, they danced this last night, and then the results show.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so remember what happened last week, and then like it's like a really fresh perspective of like, okay, this is when the elimination happened. But I completely agree about, like, I just think it's kind of unfair that, like, again, that it's like first night and people have nerves and everything like that. And then again, even without the double show week, it was always like, okay, you get to vote during the show, and then the phone lines would stay open, or the like online stuff would stay open to like an hour after. And if you wanted to vote like an app or whatever on the ABC,
or even I think sometimes it was even like 6 a.m.
6 or 7 a.m. the next morning, like when
maybe that's American Idol, but
no,
it's the same voting number, honestly.
No, exactly.
215.
But I actually think when you called, I think when you called the number, that was the one that like closed like in the evening, but like an hour after the show. But like when you like, voted online or on the app, that was like till 10 a.m. the next morning. So that gives people way more time to vote. Now you only have 2 hours to vote now. So it's just like, again, I just feel like it kind of skews the voting like curriculum, or not the curriculum, but viewing algorithm, I guess you could say. And it's just, again, I wish they would have done the double elimination, but what can we do?
I mean, I think the only other comments I had were, I thought the opening pro number was great.
Me too.
It looked so good. Every time they have the two of them on the screen together, I just keep, Tyra's so much taller than Alfonso.
I know.
I'm like, every time. And I thought it was interesting, like in previous seasons, I know sometimes they've had like, basically they have 2 or 3 types of dances for the night. And it looked like they just kind of had a theme for the episode, and I think they're just gonna have a theme for all the episodes. This was like a premiere party. It was like, what song do you like to dance to? So I mean, like, I'm just skimming. There were an overwhelming number of cha-chas, like a few salsas, a few jives, and then like we had like the one-offs of the foxtrot, tango, and the quick step and the Viennese waltz. And I think, it's interesting because I know I've talked about this in the past, is where like I would always feel like it was so unfair when you'd have people the first week like, this one has a samba and this one has a salsa, and it's like, I just always felt like the salsa to me is such an easy dance to learn, the basic step.
It is.
I mean, obviously with the guys leading, like that's a whole other ball game.
Exactly.
But like, especially for the women, and I didn't dissect all of this, but I think the bottom line is that it's like, the salsa is so much easier because it is literally like walk 2 3 and then walk 2 3, and that's it. And literally those basic steps carry you through the whole routine. A samba has so many different rhythms.
Yes.
It's so hard. You've got the hip action, you've got the bouncing, you don't bounce your head. You've got so many different types of rhythms for the steps. It's not just the same rhythm the whole time, you know? And I'm like, it's just so hard when you see them do different dances. I mean, I thought this was kind of like, I don't know. I think they're kind of just going to be like, we're just going to go based on the song you're picking, and that's it. But naturally, a lot of like party songs are like a cha-cha or a salsa.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And I felt like that was the thing. So it will just be interesting to see, because like next week is Elvis night.
That's
So it's, I mean, we're gonna have some jives probably. We're gonna have some waltzes, I'm thinking. I'm
yeah,
trying to
probably waltz
like all
or
of his music in my head.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah, probably jives and
Foxtrot.
waltzes will be probably pretty big. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I think it's just gonna be interesting to keep an eye on like who's doing the Latin dances, like when, you know, because there might be a trend of like they did a Latin dance one week, a Latin dance another week. Like it used to kind of be like they've done it different ways, and I think they're kind of just like, we're just gonna go based on the songs and whatever the style is, which I think is fair, but it's not always an even playing field.
Yeah, no, you're right, exactly.
I don't know. I felt like cha-cha is pretty simple too. I don't want to say simple, but like there's a pretty like regular,
yeah.
there's like a rhythm. There's a pretty basic rhythm that you're following. So it's not as simple as salsa, but I don't know.
But I agree with you. Samba is so difficult to like, again, it's just the correlation is pretty different.
Yeah. All right. Did you have anything else for dancing before we
Yeah,
go into the Bachelorettes and launch
exactly.
into a whole other segment?
Like a whole other segment was probably gonna take a while, but it's gonna be fun. I had a few things. Like I said, I absolutely love the opening number. It was cool. No, I know. I absolutely love the opening number. It was cool to see the troupe and the pros kind of do everything together. It was cool again that they did the LA, New York, Disneyland kind of combo dance there. I thought that was really cool, and I love the energy that they had. Like I mentioned before, and now I know his name. I knew his name before, but I didn't like research it until I heard it again. But Conrad Green, who's back on the show, who of course is the original showrunner and executive producer from, I think, from 2005 to 2014, 15, I think they said. So he's like kind of like the man in charge of all production and creative stuff since the beginning. So like all the stuff we've known pretty much since the beginning, like he was responsible for, and now he's back this season. And I think that's really cool, just because again, people were saying that he made a lot of changes in terms of like showing the pros like before the first episode. And then probably that's another reason it was probably, I said Mark and Louie are back, which was really great. And I know we talked about that, but that's probably another reason they came back, because they probably worked with him. Again, with the two hosts thing, that was probably a big decision he made. So that was something I had, and I think that's pretty cool, because I like having the like a little bit original aspects of the show come back, I could say. And then I said audience is back in full, which is really cool to see, just because we said last year it was just kind of like friends and family, very limited to like the pros or to the stars, and that was in 2020. There was no audience at all. And so it's nice to see the audience is back. I had said that it's a little bit of a different vibe on Disney Plus to me, but I really liked the vibe, and I thought it was really good.
No commercials.
Again, no commercials. I think that's,
it didn't feel as rushed. Like they obviously had to stick to a timeline, but it didn't feel rushed. And I thought it was, I mean, like we paused it, but
exactly,
it was like, it was a show. Like it was actually like, we're just doing a live 2-hour show. And I felt like they had the dancing, like they had the troupe have more like segments in between. And that was like the commercial break.
Yeah, no, I like that too. And I thought that was really cool. And like I said, the reason I like that they have no commercials is they're able to spend a little more time on the couples and the pros and everything like that. And obviously we talked about this before, but the judges that came back, or the judges this season, they're Len, Bruno, Carrie Ann, and Derek, which obviously the original three, and then Derek, who's been there for a little while. I really like that, again, that Alfonso's back. I think that's a great decision that they have two hosts now, because again, I know we talked about this like kind of as like our opinion on like the show as a whole, and when we knew we were going to be recapping this show. And that we've been a fan for it for a while. We don't like dislike Tyra, but just again, the hosting style is just a little different. I think it was like a little difficult for her to carry the whole thing. And like I heard somebody talk about this who was recapping the show today. They said the show was made to have two hosts. That's kind of
the beginning. It's not no, it's not a criticism of her.
It's not a criticism of her. It's just the format of the show calls for two hosts. It's always been, and I completely agree. And again, like I said, I thought, again, I know we talked about this, but the elimination was not great. I wish they wouldn't have done that. And that's pretty much it. But I absolutely am so happy that the show is back. I've really missed it. And I know we talked about this before. I really wish it was like they used to have the spring and the fall season where there was 2 seasons a year. They haven't done that for like 5-6 years at this point. But I really do miss that, because I just love the show so much. And it's the show like that got me into wanting to start dancing. So it is a huge show that has changed my life. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how the season's going to go, and we have a lot of good contenders for like who's going to go far. So I think it's really fun, and it's going to be fun to see what they end up doing in terms of routines going forward. So yeah, that's going to be fun.
Okay, let's shift gears.
Let's do it.
So in honor of the
Yeah
finale, I'm gonna switch back.
Me too. For the last
background for the last time for a while.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. So we decided we're gonna just kind of break it up into the different categories.
I got my Bachelorette notes now.
Yeah, I know. I just switched to my note a second ago. So all right, let's just handle the Rachel and Tino stuff first.
Here we go.
So we ended on a better note. Okay. I mean, I'll just say, okay, wait, I should have grouped my notes this way too. So, okay. It, basically they're the segments from them for the episode. She goes to tell him, he's the only one there. You know, he said the phrase, "I bet everything that we're together forever." And I was like, well, that didn't age well.
That's so funny.
Statement didn't age well. You know, and then the proposal day, and like right before Tina proposed, they had the so they were like, they had the insert of her guy friend that like about eiiwun and his face, and I'm like looking at his face and I'm thinking, are you happy you flipped out about eiiwun now?
Exactly. I know.
You know, it's like everyone was cheering, but her parents are in the audience looking emotionless, like watching this whole thing. And then Rachel said that, like, you know, okay, so then they cut to the live audience after that. And I mean, like, the proposal was beautiful. They started apparently going through challenges like around the time of like when the premiere was actually happening.
Right.
So it had to have been like maybe a month or so after they wrapped up. I didn't get the full timeline, but she just felt like, I think she said that the way she kind of said it was she didn't feel like they were supporting each other. Because I think she said that she didn't feel like she was being supported, but she also kind of knew she wasn't supporting him. Yeah. Something to that effect. So it was like, she knew it was like reciprocal. And then we get to the point of how we talk about he cheated on her with someone that he was previously in a relationship with. And apparently there was a lot of discussion about him, like talking about it. And then she like finally got it out of him. And then Gabby came to see her because they were going to have him come over to visit her. Gabby came to see her first. And like, honestly, I just felt like this was the main advantage of the dual lead, because no one was going to understand as much as Gabby would. And Gabby made the comment of like, she's like, he was making an ass out of himself for wanting you so bad. Like, where is that now? And then Tina came over. I'm just gonna go through all my notes now and we'll go through the discussion. So he was like, I shouldn't have ever told you this, like, don't tell anyone, or something that he said to her on the phone. And that was like, there was something about like we weren't on a break. And then I was thinking the friends thing, the friends reference, and I was like, this was not a break. I don't think there was any ever that kind of came up. I don't think there was any whatever. I think there was just like a phrase that came up, of course, because of that whole thing. Exactly. So I think the whole thing is that they were talking about like, he was like, don't tell anybody about like the cheating. And part of me is like, okay. And there's obviously so much that I have, but so Rachel, like, there is a chance that Rachel could have just broken up with him and not blatantly said like he cheated in this whole thing. And that probably would have protected his character, but like it also would have left us wondering. But part of me is like, when you sign up for the show, you're kind of signing off on this information being public knowledge, but like it would have fed into protecting his image. So I'm gonna pause there. I don't know. Or should you want me to just keep going and like narrate?
I can get mine because I had some that were like earlier in the episode, some notes at the beginning. So I can go through that and then just pick back right up where we left off. I thought it was so interesting that like when we get to the live thing, like when the live show started, that I guess this is like to make people think, oh, like I'm obviously gonna watch, but like just more enticing for people. I just love how we have like the like dark studio with Jesse standing there all dramatic with everybody quiet, and then talking about, again, this was so weird to me because I've never heard really them say this, but I think this was something to where like they knew, probably most of the audience knew the rumors or had heard the rumors anyway, because Jesse was like, oh, this stuff with Eric and this stuff with Tino happened. Can this stuff be resolved? And like, there's probably some people that were like, what are they talking about? If they're like not spoiler people, So I thought that was really interesting. That kind of just blatantly said that, like kind of like that, assumed that everybody knew. But again, I liked that at the beginning of the episode that they had, like you said, that Gabby and Rachel like really understand this whole double D thing. Like process together. I thought that conversation they had at the beginning of the episode was like really sweet. And then yeah, I again, like you had talked about, that it was just like, again, the whole only one here thing, whatever. And then excuse me, and then I'm trying to, where's the I with the proposal, I think since it was like 20 minutes into the episode, and like before they cut to like the edited clip of the episode from the studio, Jesse was like really, and we talked about this last night on the live stream, Jesse was really like emphasizing like, this seems like it's going to be a happy ending, but will it stay that way? And they like, and he kept emphasizing it to where it's like not a surprise anymore. It's just like,
we know, Jesse.
We know nothing, it's not going to go well, we know. But like, because of that, and he was like insinuating that before the proposal played, it didn't make the proposal feel special to me. It really didn't.
I think we didn't want it to feel special anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was nice and it was cute, but like, I'm really gonna feel like, oh my gosh, yay, or something, because like we know that something's gonna happen. They're really like setting us up for that from the whole beginning of the thing. So like we kind of knew that. And again, like you were talking about how they how like no one looks happy during the proposal. And again, the whole dramatic effect thing, Tino going like, well, there's something I got to tell you, and then dramatic music plays, and then he's like, this isn't gonna end or whatever. And I was like, come on, man, that's like, that's not even like, I don't know. And then like I said, they said it wasn't the end for them, and that her face was not happy in the slightest the whole time watching it. And then Rachel was by herself in the studio, obviously, and then she kept saying stuff in the past tense with that that again, it's been a while, and like you said, I don't want to repeat everything that you said, just so it's, I don't want to drag on with this, but it again it was crazy because again, there was like really no like sign that they ever broke up or they ever took a break. Again, he said that this was the thing excuse me, that he didn't, I think it was a girl that he said he met up and kissed again during this time frame when they were on a break. Again, I agree with you.
They weren't on a break.
That's what I meant. Well, he thought they were on a break, but what I meant was is he thought they were on a break, because he kept saying to her, I assumed that it was pretty much done. And then she was like, well, we never said that though. So that was something. But it was interesting. No, I don't know. It's, again, I agree with you. And I heard a lot of other podcasters and recappers talking about this today, where they were saying like, this felt like almost like she could have obviously been like broken up with him. No cameras were involved, but it came out, and then that was it. But even if
they can't really do that.
They really do that. But even if they did do that, or even if they did do like they had that whole thing in the house, just broke up with him, I feel like a lot of this was just Rachel wanting to get back at Tino, like kind of like, and I don't think that's the whole story, but I feel like she was just so hurt by it. I was like, you know what? I want to have him kind of be like publicly humiliated by this thing. And like, the thing that was frustrating to me, I know you talked about this, is that obviously what Tino did was inexcusable, in the way he handled it was inexcusable. Obviously, I have no like tolerance for cheating for anybody, and that's just something that I've always had like my opinion of. But there was never like, Tino could have said like the best apology in like the history of the world, and it still wouldn't have been good enough for her. I just feel like she had that in mind, that she was like, I'm gonna like just rip this guy to shreds, because like I'm just so angry right now. And like, because he kept saying stuff, and then she would just keep saying like, oh, you're turning it on me, like you really want to like, no ending to it. She just kept going. And
no, when they were in the house, so I think the biggest thing is like, when they were in the house, he had the journal and the whole thing. It was okay. I think at one point he kind of like asked her like, what was the purpose of this? Like the thing at the house, I think what happened was like, he came in and okay, let me back up. There were clearly issues before he ran into this woman at the bar, before he kissed her. There were issues. They have not discussed them. There were clearly issues. They need to be, they don't want to share them. They don't want to share them. But like us as viewers, we're clearly missing a huge part of the story.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say whether it's our right to know or
Yeah,
not.
exactly. Yeah,
Like really not. But that is a huge chunk of that, because I think what happened was he was hurt by whatever happened.
Exactly.
She could have equally been hurt. And I think when he came in the house, he was trying to talk about all those things that she said because of that reason that hurt him. And she did it at the house and she did it at the live. That anytime that he started to bring it up, she shut him down because she didn't want him to open a can of worms about whatever those issues were involving.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because they were basically talking about how like he was trying to protect his image, but then it's like she also sounded like she was trying to protect her image.
Yeah.
And it was weird because the things, it was like he said that she said this and then she said she never said it. So this was either lying, what did I say? This was either lying, misunderstanding, or like miscommunication, because it was like, what the heck? You know, and I'll just, yeah, that whole conversation in the house started off the wrong way. And like cheating is wrong 100%. I felt like he kept fluctuating on whether or not he was holding himself accountable. This is like in the house, and then started to apologize, but then just diminishes the severity of what he did. And then like, you know, I think that the thing is that like we saw the way that she handled the conflicts with Zach and Avon, so it doesn't bode well for her of like handling this as well, because it's like, how can we 100% like, you know, like see how she's handling it, and we saw what happened. So I don't know. She kept making faces when he was outside and she was inside, and I was wondering, could she hear him? I didn't know.
I know.
We don't know who he called. His whole behavior was like problematic on that in the house. She really just wants closure, and like she's not great at handling these situations. And I felt like, especially in that moment, he was being like kind of manipulative, whether it was intentional or unintentional. But like, I think the point is, it's like she wasn't going to get that closure, and she was just trying to get that closure, and he didn't get that. That was not happening. And I just felt like he may have 100% meant what he said about like wanting her and still wanting her at the end of the day, but that was not a healthy relationship. And Caitlin even said like, we saw 8 sides of Tino in that short clip, and I was like 100%. And I just, then it was like in the live, and then I'll stop. I'll just like,
I know there's like so much to talk about.
It was like, I mean, when he did come on the live, I did feel like he was actually trying to issue a genuine apology, actually acknowledging the severity of what he did. And the biggest problem was, I felt like she just was so combative, and she was dissecting his words of like, oh, well, how you came off. And like, she was just trying to nitpick on the words, and she wasn't listening to the whole point of what he was saying. And like, I do feel like his initial statement was like accurate and genuine, and he did apologize and understand that like that during the meetup, he was hurling things at her, and that was also wrong. And he did acknowledge that straight out the gate. And okay, that was some of the stuff I said before. And I think I don't know. I don't think he was saying that their engagement was over, but she kept acting like he did. I don't know. It was like back and forth.
Yeah.
Becca, Michelle, and Caitlin were like talking in the audience.
That was so funny.
Then and I think that was really it. And it just like was hard because I just felt like they never got, look, they weren't going to get 100% closure on that stage, but then it was like, then they pulled out Avon, and like, love Avon, great, all fine, but it was really a slap in the face to Tino of like how it was like it played out, like, you know. And he was asking Jesse, can I go? And they 100% did this for the ratings, and like, love to see it, but there's at the end of the day, the show does not fully support the well-being of the contestants, and that is 100% evident with that decision.
Yes, hands down.
I am done with my statement.
Exactly. You know what? I'm probably gonna go on just as big as a rant. Like, exactly. I don't even know where to start. Like you were saying, going back to the whole house thing, she was like nitpicking his words there too. So like, there's gonna be no. Again, that's again how she handles situations like this. Like we talked again on the live last night. That and whenever there's any like emotional like disagreement or conflict with her, like she'll try to like hear words she wants to hear, and when she doesn't hear it, she'll like start nitpicking those words and be like, oh, well, you didn't say this to me before, are you lying? Like it's like she doesn't listen to the person like kind of 100%, and then people are like trying to plead with them, and she won't hear any of it. So again, it was just going back in circles. Like again, obviously no like excuse for cheating, any of that.
No.
But like with Rachel wasn't really handling it the greatest either, because it just kept going in circles, and there was no like to the fight.
At the house, it was like more emotionally charged, and I get that, but I was like sad when it was happening again at the live.
Exactly. No, I know.
And I was like, what?
No, exactly. And I agree with you. And this is one thing, because I heard again one of the podcasts I listened to, they were talking about this because I didn't hear anybody else talk about this, but Rachel kept saying this. Like, remember, and I agree with you what you said. Like at the beginning, when you were saying at the beginning of the live when they both sat down, he really did seem sincere and genuine of like really like apologizing to her. But she kept saying, "Oh, he never said he was sorry," which he did like 10 times during that thing. So it's like, I guess she didn't hear it, but like, I guess she didn't like, but just like, if you can believe if he was sincere or not, but he did say he was sorry. So like, say he wasn't sorry or he never said he was sorry. That just wasn't true because he did. But I don't, again, the whole eiiwun situation, there's no way that was not planned just because again, like I said,
not by eiiwun and Rachel, but like by production.
By production. And again, like I said, I could go back to something else in a second, but they, like I told you yesterday on the live stream, Rachel was talking to some of these podcasters yesterday when they were in New York talking to like doing press, and she was like, the production told us none of that was going to happen. It never told us any details about it, obviously. When eiiwun walked out, he just expected it to be me. He didn't think Tina was going to be there. When he found out it was, he was very uncomfortable with it because he didn't want that to be like that. He felt bad for Tino. And so like, and Rachel said the same thing too. She was like, I didn't know that was it. So again, it was just like production kind of skewed with this whole thing, and like they didn't tell anybody. And it's just like through, again, I heard somebody mention this. It was like Tino was just kind of like this like martyr that they were just going to kind of keep throwing things at. And they were just like, no, because they knew the audience was going to hate him. So it's like, well, okay, audience hates him, Rachel's not happy with him, and it's like, okay, but bring out eiiwun, everybody loves him. And it's just like, and then it's like eiiwun doesn't even get like the proper shot about this either, because it's like, well, he's kind of like sloppy second. I don't want to say sloppy seconds, but it's just like it's feeling genuine just because like he walks out there and it's like, what is he supposed to do? It's just like, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I think they were just trying to say that like he was kind of just there to support her, and like they didn't really expect anything to happen and anything. I don't know. I think the whole point is we just kind of felt, and I feel like a lot of people just felt that once Tino's parents didn't seem to like Rachel, that should have been enough of a clue or for her to realize like maybe this isn't right. And look, I don't know. I don't think Tino's genuinely a bad guy. They clearly went through some issues. He made some bad choices. Hopefully he learns from that. And I think they're just not meant to be together. It's sad that it went down this way, and they move on. And I think that's it. And then like there were a lot of mistakes in how I think the show handled it. And
no, I agree.
And I don't want to like crucify Tino for the rest
again of like, I don't think kicking him while he's down was like, I think that was really bad. I don't agree with that at all. And again, like I talked about this last night on the live stream, that like I noticed a lot of production things like in different shows because of me like wanting to be a director and everything like that, and like even all the shots seem so planned even though it's a live show. Like because they did like this candid shot of him walking backstage that was out of focus, then you heard the audience reaction, and then it just like this kept showing Rachel and Tino's reaction that were obviously so different from each other. And I was just like, even down to like the shots, it just seemed like so planned. And I'm like, oh God, it was so bad. I did not like that at all. I really didn't.
Oh goodness. But I think Nick and I all already said something that Tino's gonna be on the podcast next week. So I'm like, I'm looking forward to that episode. Yes, exactly. I just hope for Tino's sake he doesn't try to dish any low blows at her.
No, I don't think he will.
For his sake.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope he doesn't.
I don't think so either.
Because I do want him to like kind of redeem himself a little bit.
I think so too. And I don't think Nick usually, again, from what I've noticed from his podcast, is that there's somebody that's like a villain that he has on, or somebody that most people don't seem to like after the fact. He seems to kind of give him a fair shot to talk. Which I like. And so I think
been in that position before. So he
exactly. Yeah. So he knows. Exactly. Right. Exactly.
He was a villain many times over.
Exactly. But man, what a mess. It's so bad.
He always loves how he's like, people always say when they meet me, I didn't used to like you, but now I do. And he's like, don't say that. I was just like, yeah, but it's funny. Anyway. Exactly. But okay, enough with them and moving on.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so on to Be Happy.
Yes.
Story.
Please.
So Gabby and Eric did get engaged. After they had cut back to like their I gotta scroll up to the beginning. They like went back to where they left them, and then she basically said this decision shouldn't be easy because if it's easy it means you didn't think about it enough. Which I think was good. Also, one thing I have to say, her dress had buckles on it, and her dress they both looked great. but I
Yeah,
was just
I
laughing
agree.
because she had buckles on it. I was like, buckle up.
Exactly. I know. I saw a lot of that. It's like, I'm glad she wore her seatbelt. I thought it was funny.
And Jesse was like, oh, are you excited that this is over? Whatever. And she's like, thank God
I know that was so
that
funny.
they're done. But she said about Eric, she's like, you're too good, but you're like not too good to be true. You're too good, but also true. And then everybody was like laughing about how the birds were like screaming.
That was so funny.
And I was like, this is confirmation. Maybe this is like a sign that it's good, like good thing. And he did propose. Like I was kind of shocked, but I think looking back, like I genuinely do think that he was just scared of proposing and it not working out. So I mean, hopefully it worked out. And then he added the "Can I have your number" at the end of
That
it.
was so funny.
And then then they went to the live portion and they just talked about how they've had challenges since the proposal, but overall it was good. Grandpa John just said how much he loves him, and everybody talked about how much they love Grandpa John.
Yeah.
And then Eric, admitted he handled so the things that okay, there's a few different things with this. Eric, they talked about the stuff with the text from the ex-girlfriend, and he admitted that he handled the situation incorrectly with her. And Jesse was like, "You're forgiving him," and she was just like, "I guess." And but it's a different type of situation.
Yeah.
And like, Gabby called him out on it, and I think they have a level of understanding that they're able to discuss that. And
Yes.
Gabby just looked really so happy, and then Rachel didn't even come back. I kind of wish he did at the end to like wrap it up.
Yeah. I love that whole thing where she was like,
Yeah,
wait, now we might not see her again. I love that whole thing.
yeah, and I just feel like like I was loved how Jenna was in the audience to watch Gabby, and then the Bachelorettes, Michelle, Becca, and Caitlin gave like great advice, to the ladies on at the end there. And then
Right.
and then when they were getting ready for the Bachelor stuff, then Gabby was like, "Are you kicking me out?" I know one thing that I did want to actually go first. I want to mention Caitlin did an Instagram post, but I can get to that later.
Yeah,
So give me
yeah.
your thoughts on. I mean, I'm just happy for Gabby and Eric. I
Yeah.
think I hope it works out. I hope it works out.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I love the proposal. And again, it was like such a compare and contrast thing with like,
Mhm.
because obviously when they were showing, and for good reason, when they were showing Rachel and Tino's proposal, Rachel did not look happy in the slightest the whole time. And then Gabby was smiling the whole time when they were showing the proposal of her and Eric. And I'm like, man, what a difference. But and I love the whole, I know,
No,
but
I know.
I love the whole when Eric or yeah, when one of them was like, "Oh, can I have your number?" at the end. I thought that was so cute. Uh,
Mhm.
like at the end of the proposal, and I
Yeah.
love like the editing choice again with the whole birds thing. Like when they both were screaming, and then they put the bird clip in there.
Mhm.
The third one, I thought that was really funny. But yeah, I thought the proposal was really sweet, and again, I agree with you that like he just didn't want it not working out, and that's why he maybe was a little bit hesitant, but I think he always knew he wanted to be with her, so that was never like a question.
Yeah.
um and again, the stuff on the again, things seem really good with them on the live thing. And I love how when they asked Grandpa John, it's like, would you do Bachelor? He's like, no.
No,
And
no.
then he was like, what do you think, Gabby? He's like, absolutely not. And there's no way. I love their opinions on that. But like going back to what you were saying, I this is why, and I talked about this on the live stream last night too. I think this is why I have such high confidence for both of them to actually last, because they are able to actually handle conflict in a really mature way. Like Gabby just doesn't run away and is like, "Oh, something bad happened. See ya." Or same thing with Eric. Like they're able to really like communicate. Like they're able to like have that trust with each other and like say, "Hey, I'm going to be here with you, and like, I can call you out on stuff, but I'm going to always be here to support you. And we can get better through this and get better as a couple and together through this."
Yeah.
And again, like, did you see how Gabby kept like? Actually, Nick was talking about this on his podcast today. Remember how he kept like being like, "Oh my gosh, you're so annoying" or something like that, and he kept like kind of
Mm.
like tapping him and all that. Like
Yeah.
some people could like take that as like, "Oh my gosh, he's like being so like mean to him" or whatever, but like they
Yeah.
know, like they're just kind of like being playful, and they know it's like I can like say this thing that might seem like kind of upsetting,
To other
but
people.
to
Yeah.
other people, but to us, we know that like that's not like it's the complete opposite of how we feel.
Yeah. My
And I
mom
completely agree.
didn't like how she called them an a-hole
Oh, I know.
for treating the girl. My
I
mom's like,
know.
well, my mom was like, that's not nice. And I'm like, well, I was like, I mean, maybe she didn't need to say it there, but like, or that way. But I was like, Mom, that's the point is like, they're if okay, I don't want to get into the whole masculine, feminine, masculinity, whatever, and gender things. But I think the whole point is it's just like they talk, you know, you don't want to like attack his like masculinity or whatever, but I feel like it's like if he's confident enough in who he is as a person and himself and like his like masculinity, then it's like her saying that is just gonna feel like she's just calling me out and holding me accountable. She's not demeaning me.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's the healthy way,
Yeah.
because again, I think with Rachel is kind of like a little different with like the past people on her like that she was close with,
Yeah.
because like she would be very upset by like things that might have been said to her, like the whole Avon
Yeah.
thing. Like he was like, oh, I don't know if I want to he, like you said, he went from like 100% to engage
Well,
70.
that was exacerbated by her friends, and I still stand by that.
You know, I completely agree with you, but my point is like
Yeah.
she heard that and took it completely out of context. But
Yeah.
with Gabby and Eric, they can say things again to other people that might be like, oh my gosh, well, but like they
Yeah.
know the context of it. And I think that understanding mutually together is what I think I think that's the reason why I think they'll last. That's my opinion, because they're really mature people. So
yeah, and I think that is the thing. I did want to just just because I feel like this might be a good time to bring it up. So Caitlin Brister did put a post. I don't know if you saw it today.
Yeah,
she did
I saw
put
it,
a post of she had a very long caption on it, and it was like her with the Bachelorettes and everything. And I think the whole point was she wanted to make sure she's holding the production for The Bachelor accountable, because, you know, just because Eric addressed the pictures of the with him with the blackface like showing up, Caitlin just kind of like echoed how, and this is just one thing she cited, like, I encourage you to go look at this post and read the entire caption.
It was really good.
I think it really summarized a lot of the thoughts well. And, you know, because I think even when we were in the live, we're like, oh wait, did they talk about the blackface? They just talked about this up with the girlfriend. And I'm like, oh shoot, like they didn't. And I think what Caitlin said is like, we want to keep pushing forward. There's obviously been issues with the show in the past. We want to show that they're committed to holding people accountable and all this. And she basically said they should have addressed it. Did they need to see the text from his ex-girlfriend and like dissect that? No. Like they could obviously bring it up, but like, you know, she just really criticized a lot of like where they spent the time on certain things and how they treated like the stuff with Avon and Tino, the stuff with that, like the stuff with Zach and like giving Zach so much time and like pulling out all this extra stuff. And like she was also trying to say like she didn't want to go like against Zach, but it was just like, you know, that a lot of people didn't want Zach as Bachelor and like don't, you know, I think there were just like a lot of things that she was just trying to like encompass. And I do feel like I do want to just echo the sentiment of like I do think they should have addressed that, the pictures. Just because he did issue the statement on Instagram, it's like not everybody checks the Instagram post. Not everybody reads all those things. And I think it's like they need to take advantage of this platform to keep committing themselves to and to the audience to show that they're making decisions, because it's like, and this is not on Jesse, this is just on the whole production as a whole. You know, I think it's just like it's just these people that are going on the show and sometimes they have felt wronged by the way production has handled certain circumstances. They just want to feel like they're seeing change and an improvement. And I think like I had commented on Caitlin's, and I'm like, I'm glad she's holding them accountable, because I think, you know, obviously we want the show to change and we want the show to be better, but I think the good thing is there is such another community of like things that are not in the show, but they're because of the show. Like all of them, I didn't want to go on a whole diatribe comment on her thing, but it's like they have the podcast. I mean, like we have this now that we can talk about it and discuss it. And like maybe, you know, maybe they're not having the conversation on TV and they're too busy pulling out these other stuff. And like, you know, and it's obviously nothing against Zach per se, but it's like they're putting their time certain ways and like promoting certain movies and promoting stuff for the Kardashians and stuff. But it's like at least there's like other forums of people that are having the serious conversations. So I hope the show also takes it on. But I was like, you know, Caitlin has, and a lot of the other contestants have really carved out a lot of spaces to at least have those serious conversations. And I think there's more of a push to hold the production accountable.
No, I agree.
That thing on that.
Oh, I know, I completely agree. And I saw the post today and I absolutely loved it. And again, talking about like again with Eric, it just shows the maturity he has too, because it was like he addressed it and he started to have the conversation as well, like again with the Instagram post. And like he didn't just wait for it to come out like and just be like, oh,
Yeah.
and then you can address it now. But like he like actually issued like that
Hmm.
apology and stuff like that. And so like he was willing to have the conversation too, even without the show doing it.
Yeah.
And I like that these Bachelor people from the franchise, they are not afraid again to kind of like call out production if they think something's wrong or something like that. Because like
Yeah.
you would think that sometimes like, oh, there's this really popular person on the show, and it's like, oh, they're kind of just gonna like they're gonna like just always have the production side. But I've seen like Caitlyn, Nick, Ben, Ashley, like everybody, like they have true, honest opinions about the production, and I think
Yeah.
that's really cool that they actually speak their minds on things that they might disagree
Yeah.
with, not just be like, oh, everything's so good with it. Like I really like that they have those honest opinions because I
Yeah.
think most of the fans feel the exact same way. So yeah, I completely agree
Yeah.
with that.
And I think it's good because it's like they at least feel confident enough to share it, because a lot of the times it's like you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, and I think that's the point, is they at least try to like Rachel Lindsay has like completely distanced herself from the franchise, and I think she was on Caitlyn's podcast a while back, and she talked about it, and like she just like in like Brian, married to
Mhm.
Brian, and Brian does a podcast with it, and she's like, he
Right,
does it and I don't, and that's it,
right,
and that's just, it is what it is, and she's like, I just don't, she doesn't want to spend any more energy committing to it, because she just, and I felt like a lot of people just demonized her because she
right,
was outspoken, and like she can come across very like rough, but I think we all have to like listen to what she's saying maybe, and
right.
not like criticize
Mhm.
that she's always said something or how she said it. Like it's like,
Yeah,
listen to what she's saying.
yeah, exactly.
And then I think it's totally fair that she doesn't want to put any energy into that anymore and focus on herself, so, and I support her with
Exactly.
that. So
Yeah, me
I
too.
think at the end of the day, she's like, obviously, like, I'm married because of the show, so she doesn't want to feel like she's like ungrateful for what it's gotten her,
Mhm.
but it's like, you have to, sometimes you just have to step away. So
I agree.
anyway, I want to make sure we address that too.
Yeah,
But
exactly. I agree.
so yeah, I don't know, I don't think there's really anything else with Gabby
Yeah,
on the
not
season.
much. Yeah, but I'm happy for them. I again,
Yeah,
like based on
same.
the qualities of both of them, I think there's a good chance that they're gonna end up well and last. And I hope that they're.
Yeah.
I really really love them as people, and I think that they're again really a good fit for each other. And I just wish them all the best. If you, I know you guys
Hmm.
probably like if we're not big enough for you guys to watch, but if you guys do end up
Yeah.
watching, just know that, and even
Yeah.
Rachel, we wish the best for all you guys because you guys do deserve happiness. So it was
Yeah.
really good to watch you guys this season. So I wish you guys all the best.
Yeah. Oh yes, 100%. Oh goodness. Okay, and then Zach
Bachelor, yeah.
as
So
Bachelor.
yeah, Zach is Bachelor again. Like we both did our kind of like live reaction things, and like I said again, we kind of knew it because they were just reporting it like 2 weeks before they
Hmm.
announced it. So it was not really that like big a surprise. Again, I know I talked about this in the live stream last night. Not a lot of people were happy. Again, there were probably a lot of factors just because we saw this whole emotional thing, and it was like, oh, okay, well here's Zach, and it's like, well, it kind of just defeats the whole purpose of like having this like
Yeah.
exciting thing when we've already seen all this dramatic crap at the end or the for the first two parts of the episode. Um, but I and I saw a lot of people saying like, "Oh my gosh, he's so boring. He's not gonna like." And then like I like him
Yeah.
as a person. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but we didn't ask for him. And like I said, there were a few like really strong reactions. Like I hate Zach and he sucks. And I'm like, well, that's kind of strong. Just say that because he like and we
Yeah.
were talking about this last night. He's like literally he didn't do anything on the show to like make people hate him. So it's like there's
No.
justification like so I hate like you can feel the way you want about him, that's fine, but it's just like to say like oh he sucks like just kind of cuz is like doesn't make much sense because he didn't do anything. He was perfectly fine on the show.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, I'm excited to see his personality evolve, and maybe we'll get to see more of his personality because he'll be on the show obviously like 89 or 85, 90% of the
Hmm.
time every week rather than just like a few minutes every other week because
Yeah.
that's just how it works exactly. And so I think that will be interesting.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm interested to see how he kind of handles the conflict. Like we talked about that last night on the live stream.
Hmm.
Because we said, oh, maybe we might be a little bit worried about how he'll handle it, but maybe he might not even put up with it and just be like, you know what, if there's drama, I'm not putting up with it.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But yeah, I like him as a person, so that's why I like the choice. Yeah, if they would have picked eiiwun or somebody else from the season or something like that we all like too, I would have been just as happy, or maybe like I don't want to
Yeah.
say happier, but like I would have felt the same. Like I would have been happy as well. But I like Zach as a person, so that's why I'm excited to see him more. So
Yeah. I just thought it was funny that Jesse was like, I'm glad the Bachelor doesn't look like me for once. And I was like, wait, he does kind of
really,
look like him too.
no, I
That's what
know
Jesse said.
exactly. I
Jesse
saw
said,
that
he
on
was like,
Instagram. Like somebody gonna
he
tell him,
does
but that
kind
was
of
really
look like
funny. Yeah, exactly.
um I like I said yesterday too when we did the live. He's very grounded and positive, which I think is nice. I'm concerned with how he'll handle the drama.
Mhm.
He was not ready for the whole thing, the limo thing, and then they bleeped what Brooklyn said, which was weird, and Brianna took the selfie, and that she won the America's First Impression rose.
Which was so good.
Yeah, we don't need to get into all that. Let's see their second limo entrance when they actually
exactly. It was just the way that they just had the
blur that.
like, exactly. It's just like, oh, okay, like have America pick your person. You're not even gonna get to pick. It's like,
but
okay.
Funny thing, I didn't even get to tell you. So it was funny. I was finishing up at work today, and I was there on site, and I had my phone with me, and I was like, it was just going back, and I looked, and I was like, oh, because so they started Twitter Spaces, which is kind of like like that live podcasting thing, and I saw like, oh, going live with like Zach, and I was like, I didn't have my headphones, and I was on the inside of the building, so I'm like walking down the hallway like this, listening to my phone really, really low, and because they did a Twitter Spaces thing with Jesse and Zach today, and they were talking a bit, and like I mean, listened. Obviously, they didn't have anybody speak, but it was cool, and I think it was good because I think they probably also wanted to be like, let's just smooth this over a little bit. But I mean, they just talked about like a little bit more about his interests, and they were talking about like how he's so busy, and like, oh, you're gonna go get a haircut, and you're gonna go get fitted for like with the stylist, and you're gonna learn all about fashion and be more fashionable and blah blah blah. And then they talked about how he really liked music. I think he said like rock music specifically. And they were talking about like planning the dates, and Jesse said he found out like some of the places they're traveling to, and he's like, I can't say, but like it's gonna be really, really good. And then he talked about like some of the dates he really likes doing those things that are like those ones that like kind of push you out of your comfort zone, like energizing, like the high intensity type things. So like they were like, oh, planning the dates and whatever, and I thought it was a good conversation. They talked a little bit about him making the tough decisions, and Jesse did like really re-emphasize to him about how sometimes it's hard because, as you can tell, like there's a lot of times that you'll be in that moment and you don't know what's going on, and you don't really find out what was actually going on till like months later when you're watching it back. But it's like you really just have to be very confident in yourself, and Jesse was emphasizing like you really know who you are and what you want, and it's not just about that you know what you want, you know who you are. And he was just like trying to like build him up too, of like you're able to do this and you're ready to do this. And I
agree.
I really just hope he doesn't get a bunch of drama, people.
I was just about to say that. I was like, I really hope, but I'm not gonna bank on it because we know what the producers do.
I hope he sees through the BS when it comes up. I hope he can just dismiss it and not get sucked up into it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's gonna be the whole emotional part of like the relationships and stuff. That's just gonna naturally take its course. There's gonna be some girl drama.
Yeah.
But I hope he sees through it. I hope he gets through it. And I really just hope that everybody really comes around and supports him at the end of the day. Yeah, because I feel like there's a good potential for a good love story, and I think that they were trying to like set up Sean Lowe to be his like bachelor mentor.
Yeah, and that would be great. Yeah, I agree.
I think it's good.
No, I think so too, and I really hope again we'll get to see again. It just sets him up for success, and like you said, I really hope that they don't like throw all this drama at him. But again, I'm not. Like I feel like I guarantee that they're going to throw a lot of drama at him just to see how he reacts. But again, I really just hope he sees through all the BS and just doesn't like bye. He's like bye and that's it. It's so crazy. No, exactly. It's so interesting because literally they start filming like the Bachelor, like the next season, like the Monday after the finale. So they're literally going to start filming Zach's season in like next week, 4 or 5 days from now. It's like that's so crazy to me that like we just finished this. And then like in 4 or 5 days,
we're
gonna be filming. That's like so crazy to me that they go like right into the next one.
Yeah, and especially they have to because it's not going to be on TV till January.
Yeah.
But like they got to film it before the holidays. So
they usually finish like the week before Thanksgiving for the Bachelor, what I've heard.
Yeah. So
it should be fun. I'm excited to see him. I am happy with the choice. So
yeah. And then we'll see. I just hope we're still happy for you.
Okay, no, exactly. But I'm excited to see. It'll be January 23rd. I wrote down the date for it. So like we were talking about. Oh yeah, I know. Me too.
January 23rd.
Jesse was saying. I'm like, okay. Jesse said
it's also late. It's usually like earlier in January.
Yeah, it's like January 2nd through the 5th. Yeah, usually. But like we were talking about this, and it's like unless some other show comes up at that point, Zach's season will be the only thing we'll have to recap at that point.
Yeah.
So it's really a really kind of good thing for us. I'm excited.
Bachelor in Paradise now.
Yes, Bachelor in Paradise now. Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many previews. I don't even know how much we could pick from. All I know that I did notice is that Rachel was there. Now she might just be there to like come and talk to people and blah 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 and like just be like a pop up. But I was just like, whatever. I don't know. That was just shocking that she was there. I don't think she's there to meet anybody. She was just there to be like, hi.
Like, hi, I'm here. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe she was there to like talk to the girls to give them insight on the guys that were from her season.
Oh, it could be.
That could be why.
Wouldn't that be a huge plot twist? It was just like, oh, Jesse or Rachel's joining now. Like that'd be.
Well, it was filmed in June, so.
Oh, that's right. Exactly.
Things were still okay then.
Exactly. That would have been really interesting though, if that like circumstances made it so she could do that.
But I don't know. I'm just like, I think the only other thing that I'm just like trying to, maybe insinuating is not the right word, like trying to deduce from the preview is I know when I like kind of was glimpsing at spoilers that there's some like, oh, once there's this like blah 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 twist, there's a phrase for it, but I don't want to say it. But I think the whole point is that there's like so many other reality dating shows like on all the streaming platforms, which I refuse to watch. This is all I watch. But I know there was one that there's the premise of that you like, what is it called? The Ultimatum.
Oh, okay.
Wells and Brandy talk about it, I think.
Yeah.
On their podcast, and maybe Wells was also bringing it up as like a hint. But I think it's like kind of like when you're trying to be like you live with someone else, like you're potentially going to be engaged to somebody, but then you're going to go live with like another person, to be like whatever. So I think that what they're going to do is they're going to take all those girls and they're going to ship them off to the hotel, and then they're going to have the other group of girls come in, so that way they're not there to interfere, and then just let the mayhem break loose. Okay. To see like, are they going to be faithful? Are they going to interest in them and whatever? Because then they're not there to like intervene. Yeah. And that's when they do the whole like F you Jesse Palmer thing. But that
was really funny.
I think that like, I think that seems to be what they're going to do, which I mean, I don't know. It's like, okay, how do I say this? See, as much as that's like, oh, they're doing that for the drama, I'm like, okay, that's fine, like whatever, because you gotta, if these people are gonna get interested in these other people while you're gone, like just whatever, you gotta just see what happens. Like I don't know.
Exactly.
It is what it is.
It's gonna be crazy. We know that.
It's a trust thing, but like obviously it's like drama ratings, blah blah blah.
Exactly.
But like that's not as bad as what happened.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that would be an interesting twist. But I think I don't know. I hope we get some good couples out of it. There's a lot of people going, so I think the chances are high, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. There's always the unexpected there.
Yeah. Okay. We have gone on for very long. I don't know how long this episode is gonna actually be.
You guys probably give like a 2-hour episode on it. If you're still here, thanks.
If you made it this far, thank you. And yeah, I think this was like the crazy thing. But yes. Okay. I think that's really it. So do you want to close this out?
I can, but did you want to still do like the thing we just planned for tonight, the whole thoughts on the season, just kind of like a final recap?
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
That's
sorry.
All good. No, it's all good. Okay, we can just give like a 1 to 2 minute like summary of it. Go too long.
So I mean, listen, I really feel like the 2 Bachelorettes model was like interesting. I feel like I might have an unpopular opinion that like I did kind of like it. I don't feel like the issues they ultimately had were related to it.
Yeah.
I don't think the issues that they had at the end of the day were related to the fact that there were 2 of them. I think it was just that situation. I think the only thing is that like I don't know. I mean, like it would just be good to see that them do like 2 bachelors if something ever came up in the future, like that there was like a kind of a situation. I just feel like we kind of reemphasize like based on the uniqueness of the situation with Gabby and Rachel that they wanted to go through this process together. I think their friendships had stayed true. I think that was great to see that last the whole time. They had a few like wobbles and there were things that we just felt like things that they pulled to try to make them not pit against each other but cause like drama because of the 2 of them. But like I think it subsided at a reasonable enough point in the season that like they did the best they could. And I just don't think the issues they had were because of that. And I mean, I feel bad for how it happened with Rachel, but like ultimately she will find her happy.
Yeah, I think so too.
Ending. So, I think at least it was good that Gabby kind of like, it was more like visible that she found hers.
Yeah.
And you know, but that's really it. I mean, I think they did a pretty good job overall.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. It's interesting because, like, again, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this. A lot of people in Bachelor Nation hated the two. I was actually most people. I feel like 95% of the people of the audience hated it. They said it was too boring or too confusing or too many things happening. And from what I heard, and I don't know if you noticed, but at the end of the episode of the live, Jesse said, "Bachelor Nation, I want you to understand, or I want you to recognize that we hear you, we understand you." Almost everybody thought that was talking about the 2-episode season, or the two or double lead, like part of the show. And the way he said it made it seem like they're not going to do it again for a while, unless, again, that there's a good reason to do. If they do it, it probably will be two bachelors. But I do not think it's going to be something they do for a long time, and they will only do it if they have like a really good reason and like two good bachelors to do it. I don't think they're just going to be like, okay, let's do it again. Like, I don't think they're going to do it like just like right at the jump again. But again, I agree with that. I don't think all the stuff had to do with the show or with the format. I think just some things they were just trying to learn along the way with the format. Obviously, they could have done some things better, and I feel like if they do ever do one again, which I know is probably unlikely, at least for a while, that probably they'll learn from this in terms of like things they might want to do better. Like you said, I'm very confident Rachel will find her person. And she does definitely deserve that. And then definitely, and I'm glad we got to see it with Gabby and Eric, because obviously, like I said, I really think they're great people. And it was an interesting season. I wrote at the bottom of this, or at the bottom of my notes, I know we talked about this, that we picked quite a season to start this podcast, because like the double lead season, man, it was quite a ride to recap this, because so much happened. And I'm like, man, what a first season to start doing this. But it was fun. And I know we said that we would go back to our original predictions. You don't have to, but yeah, I can. And it's funny because I had my top two for each, and then for Gabby, I had Eric and Mario, so I was right with Eric. And then with Rachel, I had Tino and eiiwun. And then Jordan V is like a wild card. So it was like, I was right about that. Again, I wish were able to see Jordan V a little more, but again, it was interesting to see how that all played out, because like the beginning of episode 1 and how everything that happened on episode 1, it completely changed over the course of the season. So it was interesting to see. But it was a fun season to watch, even though all the craziness and stress we had to go through to get through it. But
Gabby's, I had Eric. And I mean, like, it wasn't like a top, it was just like people that I thought would gravitate toward. So it was like I had Eric for Gabby, I had eiiwun for Rachel, and I had Tino for either one of them. So I was like, okay,
you're right in all that, right?
Those people. And then like, so I was like, all right, it was interesting.
Exactly.
I didn't say it was like top 1, but I was just like, even when I saw eiiwun, I'm like Rachel, and when I saw Eric, I was like Gabby, and I was like, oh, our predictions were pretty good.
I love the whole thing that Rachel or that Gabby talked about, was like, besides the whole first impression thing that won, but like don't like ignore that. I thought it was really funny, like that, because I first thought I was like, oh, is he going to be a villain? Because that was my first thought, because he got so mad or like upset about not getting the first impression on night 1, and then he was completely the opposite of that. So I was so funny.
He probably freaked out a little bit, but
exactly, that makes sense.
He said he never really watched the show before he came on.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Exactly,
so
that
fine.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
but it's so funny just to see how all this stuff like turned out at the end of the series, at the end of the season. And it was crazy. It was a fun season to watch, and we're definitely looking forward to next season. And like we said, we got dancing and Bachelor in Paradise before that, so it's definitely going to be fun to recap all that.
Oh goodness. All right, you want to close us out?
Yes. First of all, please, like, if you guys have like watched like it since, like, if you're still here, thank you. I don't doubt it's probably over 2 hours at this point, because we like had like a time sheet of how long we were going to keep it. We like doubled every topic. So thanks for watching. No, exactly. I know it is past midnight at this point. Oh my gosh. But thank you. Oh my gosh, we'll get better at this, we promise. But thank you guys so much for watching. It really means the world to us. So please remember to like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube. If you want to hit the notification bell just so you can get notified whenever we post new episodes, that would be great. If you enjoyed it, please share it with a friend or anybody you'd like to share it with. If you have any like questions or comments or any ideas you have for us on the show, please let us know, DM us, anything like that. And if you want to please follow us on our Instagram account and subscribe here. If you want to follow us on Instagram, the title is just the same, Ballrooms and Bachelors, as the YouTube channel. And if you want to follow us on our personal Instagram accounts, the names in those profiles are at the top of the bio of the Ballrooms and Bachelors Instagram page, and it will be at the end title screen at the end of this episode. So if you want to follow us there, that'd be greatly appreciated. But we really appreciate you guys watching. It's a long night, man. Like this we had a lot to talk about, but we really appreciate you guys watching. And it'll be good to kind of get a break from, besides Paradise, it'll be good to kind of get a break from the Bachelor stuff, because we'll get recharged for Zach's season in a few months. So
yeah,
it'll be fun. But thank you guys so much for watching. It was a lot of fun to talk about this tonight.
Yes, thank you all so much. See you next week.
See you next week. Have a good one, guys. Bye.